Chapter 3794. I've recovered, Xingbul said excitedly. You don't have to worry about the heavenly demon causing me to lose my mind and attack my own people. Since Ninth Grandpa has recovered his mind, I'm willing to return the position of sect master to you, Shang Xingzong said. Don't talk about it anymore. No matter what the reason was in the past, it's a fact that I made a big mistake. I'm only willing to use my life to wash away my sins. As for the position of sect master, don't mention it again. Xingbul shook his head. Sheng Xingzong, don't make things difficult for him. Doing so will only make him feel more guilty. Just think of it as a godly weapon of the Shengtian sect, used to protect the sect. Ling Xiao said with a smile. Oh right, you've done so much for Shengtian sect, but I don't even know your name. Please tell me, Shang Xingzong hurriedly said. Ling Xiao. Ling Xiao smiled and said, all right, I've told you the key thing. Next, I need to discuss with the higher-ups. You can go to the main hall now. Sheng Buell, Sheng Hao, Wang Huairan, Sheng Yu, you four come. Listen to young Hero Ling. Everyone disperse. 3 supreme elders, 10 elders. You and the person designated by young Hero Ling can enter the main hall for a private discussion, Shang Xingzong ordered. With the sect master's order, the others had to leave even if they didn't want it. In the main hall, everyone sat down. Ling Xiao was arranged to sit in the seat of honor. He didn't hold back. In the mystic world, martial arts were respected. Age was an illusion. Whoever was stronger would be respected. Ling Xiao was the same. You must have a lot of questions to ask. You can ask now. If I can answer, I'll answer. If I can't, I can't help. Ling Xiao said lightly. As soon as he said that, Shang Xingzong cupped his hands and said, Young Hero Ling, may I ask if you're from the Purple Kingdom? According to our genealogy, our ancestor disappeared in the Purple Kingdom. Ling Xiao nodded and said, that's right. So, young Hero Ling, what is your purpose in coming to the Shengtian sect? Is it just to convey the news of the ancestor's death? A supreme elder asked. This was a question that everyone present wanted to know. With Ling Xiao's strength, if he was willing to stay and lead Shengtian sect would definitely become even more powerful. Ling Xiao smiled and said, I was entrusted by the Dongxing ancient emperor to specially search for the whereabouts of the Dongsheng imperial family. The ancient emperor said, if your lives are peaceful, then don't do anything. If you are in danger, I hope I can help you. That's the real reason I'm here. It's true. That's great. I didn't expect the old ancestor to still remember us. Thank you so much, young Hero Ling. If you're willing to help, our Shengtian sect will not be bullied again, Shang Xingzong said excitedly. Xingbul also showed an excited expression. He had fought Ling Xiao before, so he knew how powerful Ling Xiao was. Just to stop being bullied? Isn't your dream a little too small? Haven't you thought about unifying Half-Demon City? Ling Xiao asked with a smile. Unifying Half-Demon City. This was something that no one had ever thought about. They just wanted to live a good life. Is that possible? Sheng Hao asked. Why not? It's possible as long as I'm here. Ling Xiao said with a smile. If that's the case, I'm willing to give up the position of sect master. Shang Xingzong suddenly stood up and said. Ling Xiao waved his hand and said, forget about the position of sect master. I just want to help you unify Half-Demon City. I don't want to be your sect master. Give me a more leisurely position, the kind where I can have time to cultivate. Why don't we let young Hero Ling be the supreme sect master of Xingtian sect? I've had this position before. Although it's a leisurely position, it's a respected position. You don't have to care about other people's business. You just have to help when the sect is in danger. Xingbul suddenly said. Good. This is a good suggestion. With young Hero Ling's strength and character, he's definitely qualified to be the supreme sect master. Moreover, he's the disciple of the great ancestor. According to seniority, he's actually much older than us. Shang Xingzong was overjoyed. The others also nodded. Well, if that's the case, I'll be the supreme sect master. Ling Xiao did not refuse. He had to have a position. Otherwise, when he wanted to use Shangtian's sect in the future, it wouldn't be good if he didn't have a position. Tell me, what happened to Shangtian's sect in these years to make you fall to such a state? Although I can roughly guess, it's not as detailed as what you say. Let me hear it. Ling Xiao looked at Shang Xingzong and said, It's a long story. Shang Xingzong then gave a general overview of the situation. Basically, it was similar to Ling Xiao's guess. At first, they changed their surname from Dongxing to Shang because they were hunted down by the Gu family of the Dongxing superpower. After changing their surname, the Shang family seemed to have lost their luck and their situation became more and more bleak. As a result, the bloodthirsty sect took away the place they had lived in for tens of thousands of years. Then they came to this remote place. Later, in order to let the Shang family reproduce, Xingtian's sect was established. At first, it was good, but when the bloodthirsty sect found out about this, they were afraid that the Shang family would seek revenge when they became stronger. So, they instigated the surrounding sects to put pressure on Shangtian's sect. If Shangtian's sect did not have the Eastern Emperor demon vanquishing array, they would have been destroyed. Even so, they would still harass them from time to time. As a result, Shangtian's sect lived in exhaustion and fear every day. Many of their disciples escaped and many died. They were getting weaker and weaker. This situation was exactly the same as Ling Xiao's speculation. After listening, he continued to ask, What forces are nearby? There are many forces, but only 3 are truly powerful. They are the Sunset Sect, the Lion's Roar Sect, the Vampire Sect. Then, Shang Xingzong gave a detailed introduction of the 3 forces. The Sunset Sect was a human sect, like Shangtian's sect. However, most of the martial artists in the sect were cruel, a bit like the demon sect. It was said that the Sunset Sect had a contract with the insect demon. Disciples of the sect had to choose to be possessed by the insect demon as soon as they joined the sect. In this sect, there was only one perfect 4th heavenly core warrior. There were also 3 perfect 3rd heavenly core warriors, and they were much stronger than Xingtian's sect. As for disciples, they numbered in the tens of thousands. The Lion's Roar sect was a half-demon sect. The sect was led by the half-demon Mad Lion. There were 2 mid-4th heavenly core warriors in the sect. There were also tens of thousands of disciples. The vampire sect was led by half-demon vampire bats. The sect was mostly made up of half-demon birds. There were also 2 4th heavenly core warriors, and their overall strength was on par with the Lion's Roar sect. Any one of these 3 forces was stronger than Shangtian's sect. If one of the vampire sect's perfect 4th heavenly core warriors wasn't killed by the Eastern Emperor demon vanquishing array, the gap between them would be even greater. After that, the 3 forces stopped attacking Xingtian sect from the front, but they kept causing trouble for Xingtian sect. They threatened disciples to leave the sect. They robbed Xingtian's sect of their resources. In any case, he would resort to any means necessary. Chapter 3795. Facing the pressure from the Falling Dawn sect, Lion's Roar sect, and Sucking Blood sect, the Magnificent Heaven sect was able to survive until now. That was already a miracle. But now the Magnificent Heaven sect was trapped in the valley, and they lacked resources and energy. No matter how talented they were, they couldn't make bricks without straw, and they couldn't make any progress in their cultivation. For the past 3 years, no one from the Magnificent Heaven sect had joined them. On the contrary, many of them had left. One should know that when the Shangtian sect was at its peak, it had 60,000 disciples. For any power, resources were everything. Without resources, there would be no hope. The Magnificent Heaven sect had thought of fighting to the death. But the problem was, what could they use to fight? facing the three superpowers. If the Magnificent Heaven sect really wanted to fight, it would be something the other superpowers would be happy to see. Have you ever thought about migrating? Ling Xiao asked. Of course, but aside from this half-demon city, we really don't know where else to go. Although it has been 10,000 years, the Gu family still sees us as a thorn in their side. If we leave this half-demon city, we might be wiped out in an instant. Although we're half dead now, we can still hold on, and perhaps a miracle will happen. But once we leave, we'll be finished. Shang Xingzong shook his head and said with a bitter smile, You're right. Ling Xiao agreed. He had heard about the Gu family hunting down the Dongsheng imperial family. Furthermore, even without the Gu family, with the Magnificent Heaven sect's current strength, it would still be dangerous for them to migrate. All right, sect chief, don't be sad. The so-called three great forces were nothing more than clowns jumping around. If we want to unify this half-demon city, we'll have to deal with these three clowns first. Since I'm here, I'll definitely help the Magnificent Heaven sect develop. After understanding the situation, Ling Xiao became even more confident. Among the three superpowers, only the perfect fourth heavenly core warrior could pose a threat to him. But aside from helping the Dongsheng imperial family, there was another important reason he came here, and that was to hide and cultivate. He wanted to study the things he found in the burial ground. For him, a battle was an opportunity to increase his strength. Since he couldn't go anywhere now, he might as well stay here for the time being. Sect Chief, don't underestimate the enemy, one of the Grand Elders reminded, because he felt that Ling Xiao was underestimating the three major forces. Don't worry, I won't underestimate him. Ling Xiao smiled and did not explain too much. No matter how much he said, it was better to do one thing. Since the three great forces often came to the Shengtian sect to cause trouble, that would make things easier. He had plenty of opportunities to display his powerful cultivation, even though he didn't explain. However, everyone present was still full of confidence in him. After all, he was the one who easily defeated Xingbiul, who was a peak third divine core warrior. Judging from this, Ling Xiao's strength should be at least at the perfect third divine core realm. Since there were two peak third divine core warriors guarding the sect, the Shengtian sect had become much safer. After the discussion, everyone left the main hall. He gathered everyone again and announced Ling Xiao's identity as the Grand Sect Master. Everyone was surprised to hear the news. However, after the initial shock, he was pleasantly surprised. Ling Xiao's strength was obvious to all. To have such a strong man become the Grand Sect Master of the Shengtian sect, especially when the Shengtian sect was in danger, this had boosted their confidence. This is great. Old ancestor Sheng Buell has regained his consciousness. Now we have another Grand Sect Master. With two mighty warriors, our Shengtian sect might really have a chance to rise again. I don't want to return to my prime, but at least I'll be able to obtain cultivation resources in the future. That's great. Everyone was discussing the news, and they were all cheering. However, if they knew that Ling Xiao's goal was to let the Shengtian sect unify the entire half-demon city, perhaps their jaws would drop to the ground. Therefore, Ling Xiao and Shang Xingzong didn't mention it. Things had to be done slowly. When the Shengtian sect became powerful, it would be a matter of course. Since I've become the Grand Sect Master of the Shengtian sect, I'll give all of you a free gift. Ling Xiao smiled. Then he flew up into the sky. He observed the surrounding terrain. After that, he flew back and forth in the sect, like a ghost. This lasted for more than an hour. Only then did he stop. Everyone was still wondering what Ling Xiao was doing. Suddenly, the phantom of a divine dragon rushed out from the ground and roared at the sky. At the same time, the entire valley seemed to be wrapped in abundant spiritual energy. Everyone felt that the spiritual energy in the air was increasing crazily. Many warriors who were about to break through actually broke through one after another. It was like bamboo shoots after a rain. Dragon Vein. This is the spiritual energy dragon vein. The Grand Sect Master is indeed an expert. He can actually use a formation to stimulate the spiritual energy dragon vein. Although we all know about this dragon vein, we can't awaken it. This is great. This is really great. Shang Xingzong and the others directly knelt down, kowtowing to Ling Xiao in the sky to thank him. When this wave of spiritual energy storm stabilized, Zhang Xian's eyes lit up. There were only more than 1,000 people left in the Shangtian sect, and almost everyone's cultivation had increased. Some people increased several realms in a row because their cultivation was relatively low. Some people with high cultivation had also broken through the shackles. The happiest person was Shengbiul. He had broken through to the early 4th divine core realm. Wang Huiren had broken through to the 1st divine core realm as well. Even Ling Xiao had broken through to the mid-3rd divine core realm because of the impact from the dragon vein. However, he didn't improve as much as the others. After all, he had always enjoyed better resources. As for the people of the Shangtian sect, it was like rain after the rain. They were completely different. Grand Sect Master! Grand Sect Master! Shouts and cheers sounded out from within the Shangtian sect. Ling Xiao only used a small trick to make these people worship him endlessly and admire him endlessly. If he wanted to order them around in the future, it would be very easy. Everyone get up. Ling Xiao landed on the ground and helped Shang Xingzong up. After that, he said, "This dragon vein's energy is just one of the reasons. Cultivation is also inseparable from pills and soul stones. Does the Shangtian sect still have any left?" "We do, but we've used up all the upper rank soul stones. What's left is 10 million mid-rank soul stones. There's nothing we can do about it. The Shangtian sect basically doesn't have any income right now. We're just sitting there and eating." "Are you serious? They're still using mid-rank soul stones to cultivate? I'm afraid for divine core warriors, it's no longer useful. Even for divine vein warriors, mid-rank soul stones won't have much effect. Listen to me. Take out all the 10 million mid-rank soul stones and distribute them to all the disciples below the divine core realm. Using the soul stones and the dragon vein energy, I'm sure they'll be able to break through in a short period of time. As for the future, just leave it to me." Ling Xiao looked at Shang Xingzong and said, "No problem." After witnessing Ling Xiao's ability to stimulate the dragon vein, Shang Xingzong had decided to bet everything on Ling Xiao. Chapter 3796. If Ling Xiao failed, Shangtian sect would be completely destroyed. If Ling Xiao won, Shangtian sect would improve greatly. Immediately, Ling Xiao took Shang Xingzong's storage ring and said, "I know you guys are working hard at the beginning. So, these 1 million high-grade spirit stones are the starting capital that I'm lending you guys. Use it to cultivate. Return it to me when you earn more spirit stones in the future. If you want a horse to run, you have to feed it." Ling Xiao had made it very clear that these 1 million high-grade spiritual stones were not given to the Shangtian sect for free. It was equivalent to a loan. They would have to return it with interest. He definitely couldn't let Shangtian sect develop the bad habit of being lazy. However, it wouldn't do if he didn't give them any spirit stones. Shangtian sect wouldn't be able to develop. Anyway, he already had hundreds of millions of high-grade spirit stones. Giving them 1 million was just a drop in the ocean. To him it was, but to Shangtian sect, this was definitely a huge sum of money, an astronomical figure. Even the 3 major forces stockpiles were about the same amount. Ling Xiao actually lent it to them with a wave of his hand. Shangtian sect is extremely grateful. You are the benefactor of our Shangtian sect. Everyone knelt down again. Don't kneel, it's troublesome. Let me ask you, who in your sect knows how to refine pills? Or do you have the talent? Ling Xiao wouldn't give them pills for free. However, he could train alchemists to refine them. This way, it wouldn't affect his cultivation. Yu's direction of development is alchemy. Unfortunately, she doesn't have enough resources, which has affected her development. Xingzong hurriedly said, "All right, then Shangyu, you will learn alchemy from me in the future." Ling Xiao looked at the delicate girl. Shangyu was only around 18 years old, and her strength was only at the 8th level of the divine vein realm. However, this didn't affect her learning alchemy. Disciple greets master. Shangyu hurriedly knelt down and surrendered. Ling Xiao nodded and said, "I will stay in your alchemy room in the future. Don't disturb me. If there's anything, I'll come out myself." Wouldn't that be unfair to Grand Sect Master? Xingzong felt somewhat apologetic. It doesn't matter. A place of residence is nothing to a cultivator. Ling Xiao shook his head and headed to the alchemy room with Shangyu. "Shangyu, since you've already acknowledged me as your master, your cultivation is a little unbearable." Just like that, he took the purple sun pill. "Master will help you break through. At the very least, you'll need to break through to the divine core realm before you're qualified to learn my alchemy skills." Speaking of which, Ling Xiao had never formally accepted a disciple before. He had a lot of brothers and friends, but only Shangyu was his true disciple. The reason why he didn't object to Shangyu becoming his disciple was because he saw Xingyu's talent. This little girl's martial arts aptitude was 100 times stronger than Zilong's. Furthermore, he had inherited the martial spirit of the Dongsheng royal family, the Eastern Emperor Tai. This Donghuang Tai was originally one of the 12 human immortals under the Human King. He was incomparably powerful. Otherwise, the Dongsheng royal family wouldn't have become so powerful. Her talent was probably second only to Ling Xiao. Her talent was even better than his good brothers, Xiao Jin and Long Qin. It was a pity that her talent was buried. If he didn't accept this disciple, it would be a waste of her talent. Xingyu's talent in alchemy wasn't any weaker than Ling Xiao's. This was what Yuan Venerate had secretly told Ling Xiao. Otherwise, with Ling Xiao's personality, he wouldn't have agreed to accept her as his disciple so easily. Shang Yu was a charming little girl. Ling Xiao wasn't old either. Logically speaking, Shang Yu would be a little wary of Ling Xiao. After all, a man and a woman were alone in a room. However, when Ling Xiao asked Xing Yu to take the purple sun pill, she didn't hesitate at all. It wasn't because this little girl was naive, but because she truly trusted Ling Xiao. If Ling Xiao wanted to take advantage of her, there was no need for him to use the pill. After swallowing the purple sun pill, Ling Xiao circulated his energy to help Shang Yu digest the pill. After that, he used the Dongsheng Empress Divine Pill to help Shang Yu temper her body. After a day, Shang Yu's cultivation had broken through to the half-step Divine Core Realm. Ling Xiao didn't need to waste any more time. He taught Shang Yu the Blood Sun scripture. Ling Xiao also started his own cultivation. He had broken through twice in a row recently, so he didn't have the time to calm down and consolidate his mental state. Now he had the time. As for Xingyu, she had been reborn. Her cultivation speed might not be faster than Ling Xiao's. However, she would definitely be faster than most of the geniuses in the 4 regions. After being carved by Ling Xiao's hands, this piece of jade had become extremely dazzling. In the blink of an eye, a month had passed. Xing Yu was still in a state of cultivation. Her cultivation was advancing by leaps and bounds, as if she was sitting on a flying sword. As for Ling Xiao, he didn't stay idle as well. During this period of time, he had gone out a few times to clean up some powerful demon beasts for the magnificent Sky Sect. Those demon beasts were sent by the bloodthirsty sect to keep an eye on the magnificent Sky Sect. All of them were extremely strong. All of them were at the 3rd Divine Core Realm. The strongest one was at the 4th Divine Core Realm. While fighting with them, the ancient emperor of Dongsheng's Divine Pill kept merging with his inner core. The ancient emperor of Dongsheng's cultivation was also being absorbed by him. His cultivation had broken through from the mid-third divine core realm to the late third divine core realm. After that, he broke through to the perfect third divine core realm. Only then did he stop. It was extremely difficult to break through to the next stage. However, when his cultivation had broken through to the perfect third heavenly divine core realm, he was confident that he could defeat a perfect fourth heavenly divine core warrior. As for an early fifth divine core warrior, if he used the martial soul of Tyrant, he could still defeat them. Today, he returned to the magnificent sky sect to rest. Suddenly, he sensed an uninvited guest within the range of his divine sense. Is trouble here? A smile emerged on Jiang Chen's face. It was time to show his true strength. Ask Wang Huairan, Sheng Hao, and the others to fight. Sheng Buell, don't do anything. I promise they'll be fine. Ling Xiao told the entire magnificent sky sect using his soul. During this 1 month, not only had Sheng Yu and Jiang Chen broken through, Wang Huairan and Sheng Hao had improved a lot as well. Actually, they should have broken through to the divine core realm a long time ago. But they didn't have enough energy and resources, which was why they couldn't make any progress. Now, they had everything they needed. Naturally, they would be able to improve by leaps and bounds in a short period of time. This 1 month was considered a short period of time. After that, their cultivation speed would slow down, and they would return to their original speed. But even so, Wang Huairan's cultivation had reached the early second divine core realm. Sheng Hao's cultivation had also reached the perfect first divine core realm. Compared to their previous strength, they were much stronger now. Now that their cultivation had improved, what they needed to do next was to fight. Although these people who spoke were a little strong, but with Ling Xiao here, they would be fine. A group of about 100 men appeared outside the magnificent Sky Sect's entrance. Among them was Chan Shuzhong, who had left the magnificent Sky Sect a month ago, and 2 of his best friends. Chapter 3797. Apart from Chan Shuzhong, who left the Shengtian sect a month ago, and 2 of his best friends, there were over 100 people here. However, 3 of them seemed to be their leaders, as they were rather eye-catching. 2 of them were men, and 1 was a woman. One of the men and woman was standing side by side with Qin Shuzhong. The man had a handsome face. Although he wasn't handsome, he was definitely one of the best. He was in his early 20s, and he was emitting an arrogant and disdainful aura. As for the woman, she had a pretty face and could be considered a beauty, although she was still far from being comparable to Moon Maiden and Cold Plum. But from an ordinary person's point of view, she was indeed very outstanding. However, the cold and mocking look in her eyes made Jiang Chen feel uncomfortable. The third man wasn't standing, he was sitting in a palanquin. When the curtain of the palanquin was opened, his face could be clearly seen. But compared to his appearance, what caught Jiang Chen's attention was his strength. With Wang Huairan's current cultivation, he still couldn't see through this man's strength. This man was obviously the first person who came to the Shengtian sect to cause trouble. Wang Huairan furrowed his brows. Then he turned to Qin Shuzhong and said, "Should I call you eldest senior brother now? Or should I call you a traitor? You chose to join the Falling Dawn sect, and the sect chief didn't blame you. But you shouldn't have brought people here to cause trouble." Qin Shuzhong sneered, "I'm not here to cause trouble. I just want to tell you that leaving the Xingtian sect is the right choice. In just 1 month's time, with the help of the Falling Dawn sect, I've broken through to the early first heavenly core realm. But what benefits do you get by staying in the Shengtian sect? Brothers, I can't enjoy this fortune alone. Therefore, all of you should follow me and join the Falling Dawn sect. It's much better than staying in this hopeless place. Get lost." Sheng Hao was a hot-tempered man, and when he heard what Qin Shuzhong said, he became furious. "Because you were once my eldest senior brother, I'll give you face today. If you don't get lost now, don't blame me for being rude." Hearing this, Chen Shuzhong was startled. Ha 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 ha, Sheng Hao, I've been tolerating you for a long time. You're just an 8th level divine vein warrior. How dare you act so atrociously in front of me? Only you from the Shengtian sect are qualified to enter the Shengtian sect. You guys, go and test that trash Sheng Hao's strength. Chen Shuzhong waved his hand. His 2 best friends, who had left with him, suddenly rushed forward. He charged straight at Sheng Hao. When these 2 men left, their cultivation bases were similar to Sheng Hao's, but now they were both half-step divine core warriors. In Chen Shuzhong's view, Sheng Hao was definitely not their match. However, in the next moment, to his surprise, the 2 of them didn't even touch Sheng Hao before they were sent flying by 2 Xingtian sect disciples who rushed out from the crowd. They are not qualified to fight with senior brother Sheng Hao. In this month, all the disciples of the Shengtian sect had improved their cultivation. In the past, those who were not as good as Chen Shuzhong's 2 best friends had already surpassed them. What's going on? Chen Shuzhong was stunned. This was completely different from what he had imagined. Sheng Hao, you piece of trash! How dare you let others fight for you? The Sheng family really is trash. He suddenly roared. Don't do anything. I'll fight this traitor Chen Shuzhong. Sheng Hao crossed his arms and walked out from the crowd. He beckoned Chen Shuzhong with his finger and said, Come, you keep calling others trash. Let's see how strong you really are. Humph. Chen Shuzhong coldly harumphed. In order to show off in front of his master, he unleashed his true energy. His true energy erupted from his body, unleashing the aura of an early first-tier divine core warrior. After that, he dashed in front of Sheng Hao and threw a punch at him. Facing Chen Shuzhong's attack, Sheng Hao didn't even fight back. He just let Chen Shuzhong's punch land on his body. Are you trying to tickle me? Sheng Hao looked at Chen Shuzhong with disdain. He didn't even move an inch under the punch. Let me show you my fist. With a sneer, Sheng Hao suddenly threw a punch at Chen Shuzhong's face. Crack! The sound of bones breaking could be heard. After that, Chen Shuzhong was sent flying away. The bones on his face were broken, and it looked like his entire face had caved in. He stared at Sheng Hao in horror. He couldn't believe what had just happened. This is impossible. How is this possible? You're just a piece of trash. How did you suddenly become so strong in this trash sect? Chen Shuzhong knew the magnificent heaven sect too well. This was the reason why he dared to come here and cause trouble for the magnificent heaven sect. He wanted to ask for credit from his master, but reality had given him a hard slap in the face. He didn't even know what had just happened, and the current situation had already happened. Sheng Hao stared at Chen Shuzhong and sneered. You left the magnificent heaven sect a month ago. If you had stayed as a disciple of the Falling Dawn sect, we wouldn't have met each other again, and we wouldn't have become enemies. I wouldn't have called you a traitor. After all, the choice you made in that situation was everyone's own choice. But now, you've brought a bunch of outsiders here to cause trouble for the magnificent heaven sect. This is the behavior of a scumbag. Hee, what an arrogant tone. Suddenly, the girl laughed out loud. Although I don't know what happened to the magnificent heaven sect, the underground dragon vein has actually awakened. But the awakening of the dragon vein also means you have to leave this place. A trash sect like yours doesn't deserve to have such a good dragon vein. Lin Xiaoqian, why have you become like this? You've become so vicious and despicable. Wang Huiran suddenly said. Lin Xiaoqian smiled. Then she looked at Wang Huiran and said, Hee, I don't think there's anything wrong with this. Don't tell me you're still thinking about our engagement? What a joke. Do you think you're worthy? My man is Shen Luoqiu, who is standing right next to me. He is a peak first heavenly core warrior, and he is just in his 20s. He has a bright future ahead of him. As for you, you're going to rot and degenerate in this trash sect. You're going to die together with this trash sect. I'm sorry, but in my heart, there's no place for a bitch like you. As for that trash sect you keep talking about, it's no longer what it used to be. Not only is the magnificent heaven sect going to rise again, it's going to unify the entire half-demon city. Too bad you might never see it. Wang Huairan looked at Lin Shaoqian with an indifferent expression. Before this, he still had a trace of longing for her. But after hearing Lin Shaoqian's vicious words, he completely let go. There were so many women in this world, and even the magnificent heaven sect had many good female disciples. When the magnificent heaven sect rose again, there would be even more good women. So, why should he hang himself on Lin Shaoqian, who was a tree full of worms? Right now, his cultivation was at the early second heavenly core realm. With the help of the sect master, he had made incredible progress, although his cultivation speed would slow down in the future. Don't forget, he wasn't even 20 years old yet. He still had a long way to go. As long as the magnificent heaven sect grew, his progress would be even faster. As for this vicious woman, he would leave her far behind. Chapter 3798. Hee, do you think what I just heard is a joke? Trash disciples from trash sects. You really like to lie to yourselves. Unify the entire half-demon city? This is something not even the Falling Dawn sect dares to dream about. Are you all daydreaming? Lin Shaoqian laughed exaggeratedly. She was intentionally humiliating the Shangtian sect. Senior disciple Sheng Hao, who are these people? Seeing how arrogant they were, the disciples of the Shangtian sect couldn't help but ask. They had been trapped in this valley for a long time. They really didn't know much about the outside world. But Sheng Hao had ventured out a few times, so he might know more about the outside world. Sheng Hao sneered, then he pointed at Shen Luoqiu and said, Shen Luoqiu from the Falling Dawn sect. Early second, heavenly core realm, one of the core disciples of the Falling Dawn sect. That evil woman, Lin Shaoqian, a peak first heavenly core warrior, also a core disciple of the Falling Dawn sect. She is also senior disciple Wang's fiancée. Later on, because the Shangtian sect had declined, she came here to publicly break off the engagement. This incident caused a huge uproar, and senior disciple Wang had almost become the laughingstock of the entire half-demon city. As for the man in the palanquin, he is the #1 core disciple of the Falling Dawn sect, the son of the sect chief. Boundless Falling Dawn. It's Boundless Falling Dawn. When this name was mentioned, all the disciples of the Shangtian sect knew who it was. Although none of them had seen Boundless Falling Dawn before, they still knew who he was. This young man was in his 30s, and he had just broken through to the early 4th heavenly core realm 3 years ago. Not only was he the #1 genius of the Falling Dawn sect, he was also one of the top geniuses in the entire half-demon city. Now, this person's cultivation would only be stronger than 3 years ago. If this happened a month ago, no one in the entire Shangtian sect was Boundless Falling Dawn's match, including Xingbuel. As for Shen Luoqiu, if this happened a month ago, only sect chief Sheng Xingzong and Xingbuel could defeat him. As for the others, they couldn't do anything about it. Even Lin Shaoqian was only a supreme elder of the Shangtian sect a month ago. This was the Shangtian sect that suffered a tragedy a month ago. It's reasonable for them to be called trash. Wang Huairan, how dare you call me Shen Luoqiu's woman? I think you're courting death. Our sect master once wanted to take you in as a disciple, saying that your aptitude is stronger than mine. He was even close to eldest senior brother Endless Sunset. But from what I see, you're just trash. While speaking, Shen Luoqiu deliberately hugged Lin Shaoqian and revealed a mocking expression. Lin Shaoqian was also very cooperative. Unfortunately, Wang Huairan's expression remained the same. He was indifferent, as if he was just watching a monkey play. Perhaps a month ago, he would still feel terrible, but now he was very calm. This made him feel a little surprised. Strength doesn't depend on words. Wang Huairan looked at Shen Luoqiu indifferently and said, I know that you are ranked second among the core disciples of the Falling Dawn sect. Whether it was talent or strength, he was only slightly weaker than Endless Sunset. However, the days of you behaving atrociously in the Shantian sect are long over. You must not have looked at the almanac when you went out today, right? Trash, you're full of confidence, aren't you? From the looks of it, you seem to think you can fight me? Shen Luoqiu smiled. Then, a ferocious look appeared on his face. The only reason he came to the Xingtian sect was to kill Wang Huairan. He hated it when people said that Wang Huairan's talent was better than his. He hated it when people said that Wang Huairan didn't join a good sect. Therefore, he wanted to kill Wang Huairan and let his master know that he was much better than Wang Huairan. Of course, there was one more thing. Lin Shaoqian used to be together with Wang Huairan. This had always been a knot in his heart. In order to solve this knot, he had to kill Wang Huairan. Sect Chief, are we really just going to watch and not do anything? Within the main palace of the Shangtian sect, what was happening outside was being projected onto a glass ball. A supreme elder looked at Shang Xingzong and asked worriedly. Shang Xingzong replied with a smile. In this 1 month, the Shangtian sect has changed completely. All of this was brought to us by our supreme sect chief. If he says there's no need, then there's no need. Besides, even if we go there, we're still no match for Endless Sunset. Although everyone's cultivation had improved tremendously during this 1 month, the Xingtian sect's disciples were still in a daze. Shang Xingzong had broken through to the early 3rd divine core realm. The 3 supreme elders had also broken through to the peak 2nd divine core realm. Compared to Endless Sunset, there was still a huge gap. Unless Shang Buell intervened, but he was in secluded cultivation right now. But Huairan has just broken through to the early 2nd divine core realm. That Shen Luoqiu has been in this realm for a few years. He's definitely stronger than Huairan. If this continues, Huairan will be killed. A supreme elder said with a frown on his face. That's right. If these guys had come a little later, perhaps Huairan would have been able to defeat Shen Luoqiu. Another man said, It's meaningless to talk about this now. We have to believe in Huairan. Although his cultivation hasn't broken through to the 2nd divine core realm. His mental state has already reached the 2nd divine core realm. It's just that he didn't have enough resources. That's why he couldn't break through. I believe that his combat strength will definitely be stronger than Shen Luoqiu. I believe in Supreme Sect Chief's judgment as well. Right now, Shang Xingzong worshipped Ling Shao. In just a month's time, Shang Xingzong had changed so much. Before this, he thought that unifying Half-Demon City was just a joke. But now he suddenly felt that it might actually be possible. Wang Huairan, if you're a man, do you dare to fight me? Shen Luoqiu suddenly challenged Wang Huairan. That's boring. Why don't we have a life and death duel today? Wang Huairan suddenly said, Life and death duel. Hearing this, Shen Luoqiu was startled. He really wanted to find a chance to kill Wang Huairan. This Wang Huairan was just giving him a pillow. But why? He was actually wondering in his mind. Since Wang Huairan was asking for a life and death duel so straightforwardly, did he have something to rely on? You don't have the guts? Wang Huairan sneered. You're a core disciple of the Falling Sunset sect. Are you going to admit defeat? Stop bluffing. Fine, since you want to die, I'll fulfill your wish. Shen Luoqiu wanted to kill Wang Huairan. Now that he had the chance, how could he not seize it? Also, Wang Huairan's provocation made him feel really uncomfortable. What did he mean by admitting defeat? He didn't want to be scolded like this. If he didn't accept the challenge today, he would be laughed at by his fellow disciples when he returned. Therefore, both men signed the life and death contract. Life and death is up to fate. I won't pick a fight after this. After signing the life and death contract, both men walked out from the crowd. Senior disciple Wang, let's give these bastards from the Falling Sunset sect a surprise. Let them know that our magnificent sky sect is not someone they can mess with. Chapter 3799. Don't worry, I won't waste the opportunity Supreme, Sect Master created for me. Wang Huairan looked back at Sheng Hao with strong confidence in his eyes. If it was a month ago, he probably wouldn't have survived facing Shin Luoqiu. But now, everything was different. Supreme Sect Masterling Zhao's appearance changed everything. I didn't expect you to be as stupid as before, and even more arrogant. Lin Shaoqian looked at Wang Huairan with disdain and said to Shin Luoqiu, senior brother Luoqiu, "Don't be merciful. I don't want to see this idiot again. Spoils my appetite. I'll listen to you. I'll let this idiot know how trashy Xingtian sect is. How trashy he is." Shan Luoqiu still didn't take Wang Huairan seriously. Even if Wang Huairan had improved, how much could he improve in a month? Xingtian sect didn't have any resources. How could they overturn the heavens with just a dragon vein? Both sides retreated, leaving an open space for the two to fight. In the open space, Shin Luoqiu and Wang Huairan each stood on one side, dozens of meters apart. Die. Shin Luoqiu was too lazy to talk nonsense. He believed that with his strength, he only needed one move to make Wang Huairan fall. His figure flashed and suddenly turned into an afterimage, rushing toward Wang Huairan. Halfway, a sharp sword appeared in his hand. On the sword blade, there was a black sword light twining around. The space seemed to distort a little because of his terrifying power. This sword was aimed at Wang Huairan's heart. He wanted to take Wang Huairan's life. Bone-eroding devil sword. When the sword chi stabbed out, the aura of a devil appeared. It seemed that the Falling Dawn sect's martial artists had insect demons in their bodies. Flying cloud pierce. Wang Huairan didn't dare to be negligent. He also took out a sword, shouted coldly, and stabbed out with the sword in his hand. Like a sharp blade formed by clouds, the sword light skyrocketed. The sword chi blasted toward the opponent. Bang! This time, Shin Luoqiu was obviously at a disadvantage. He wanted to kill Wang Huairan in one move, but he looked down on Wang Huairan. Therefore, the sword art he used was only a first-level emperor-level martial skill. It wasn't his strongest martial skill. Wang Huairan was different. He had absolutely no intention of underestimating his opponent. Thus, he used his strongest martial skill right from the start, a high-grade, first-order emperor class martial skill. The two swords collided. A terrifying aura burst out in all directions. Countless gullies also appeared on the ground. Although it was not very deep, everyone knew how terrifying of a destructive power it would produce if it were to pierce a person's body. Pooh! Shin Luoqiu spurted out a mouthful of blood, and her body was sent flying. She fell to the ground more than 10 meters away. On the other hand, Wang Huairan only took one step back. There was not the slightest injury. How could this be? How did Wang Huairan become so powerful? The people of the Falling Dawn sect were all shocked. Chun Shuzhong and Lin Shaoqian, in particular, couldn't believe their eyes. When Chun Shuzhong left Xingtian sect, he knew that Wang Huairan's strength was on par with his. But now, Wang Huairan was actually able to injure Shin Luoqiu with a single sword strike. This was too terrifying. Even if Shin Luoqiu underestimated her opponent, it shouldn't be like this. Lin Xiaoqian's expression was even more flabbergasted. She kept saying that Xingtian sect was trash, saying that Wang Huairan was trash. But her man was injured by Wang Huairan with a single sword strike. She couldn't accept this at all. Shin Luoqiu, what are you playing at? The Falling Dawn sect in the Palanquin was unhappy. They came to find trouble with Xingtian sect to dampen their enemy's spirit. But the current situation was that one of their own was beaten, which made him extremely angry. I'm sorry, young sect master. I just underestimated my opponent. Shin Luoqiu stood up from the ground. His injury was indeed not serious, but he was still shocked in his heart. Not only did he fail to kill Wang Huairan with a single move, but he was also injured by Wang Huairan. This was too embarrassing. I thought the people of the Falling Dawn sect were very powerful, saying that our Shengtian sect was trash. But now, it seems that you're just SOSO. Wang Huairan said disdainfully. Bullshit. I just underestimated my opponent. Shen Luoqiu definitely wouldn't admit defeat. Underestimated your opponent? Hee. Then how about you take another move from me? Wang Huairan's confidence grew after injuring Shen Luoqiu with a single move. He laughed loudly and took the initiative to attack. Above the long sword, there was actually a flash of lightning. It was like a bolt of divine lightning, fiercely striking his opponent. Thunder cloud piercing. It was also a high-level, first-level Emperor-class martial skill. But the power of this move was obviously more terrifying than the previous one. Seeing this, Shen Luoqiu hurriedly circulated his true essence and used a high-level, first-level Emperor-class martial skill to resist. Crackle! Lightning flashed, and Shen Luoqiu was repelled again. Although he wasn't as embarrassed as before, it was still very embarrassing. One must know that Wang Huairan had used a high-level, first-level Emperor-class martial skill at the same time, but he only moved back half a step. He was forced to retreat 4 or 5 steps. It's not over yet. Cloud Sea disorienting step. Wang Huairan didn't show any mercy. He stepped on a flying cloud and crossed a distance of several meters like lightning, instantly arriving in front of Shen Luoqiu. Cloud Sea chain stab. This time the attack was as smooth as flowing water, continuously stabbing out. The sword light was like lightning, one after another, so fast that it didn't give Shen Luoqiu any time to react. Shen Luoqiu hastily responded. After receiving a total of 20 attacks, he was finally pierced in the abdomen by the sword, and blood spurted out. He retreated quickly. In terms of talent, Shen Luoqiu was much worse than Wang Huairan. She was only ahead in cultivation because of the rich resources of the Falling Dawn sect. But now Wang Huairan's cultivation had caught up with Shen Luoqiu. What advantage could Shen Luoqiu have? Shen Luoqiu was about to be defeated. Lin Shaoqian suddenly launched a sneak attack on Wang Huairan. This attack made Wang Huairan lose the best opportunity to kill Shen Luoqiu. A slut is a slut. You can even violate the agreement of a life and death duel. Wang Huairan looked at Lin Shaoqian indifferently, and his eyes revealed a cold, murderous intent. Humph, your Shengtian sect is going to be destroyed. We don't need to talk about rules with you. Lin Shaoqian snorted coldly. Scram! Otherwise, I'll kill you as well, you bitch. Wang Huairan still remembered their friendship in the past and didn't want to kill Lin Shaoqian. Haha, you really still like me. You don't dare to kill me. Lin Shaoqian looked at Wang Huairan sarcastically. Chi. The moment her voice fell, Wang Huairan's sword pierced her throat. Noisy! Isn't it easy to die? He pulled out the sword and blood spurted out. The moment before Lin Shaoqian died, her eyes were wide open because she didn't expect that Wang Huairan would really dare to pull out his sword on her. The man who was obedient to her in the past had now become so decisive. She wanted to say something, but her consciousness gradually blurred. Wang Huairan didn't even look at Lin Shaoqian's corpse, but looked at Shen Luoqiu. Trash, it's your turn. The life and death duel between us is not over yet. After saying that, he suddenly attacked Shen Luoqiu. Chapter 3800. How dare you? Seeing what happened, Luo Xia finally struck. There was no way he would allow Shen Luoqiu to be killed again. Lin Xiaoqian's death was enough to bring shame to the Falling Dawn sect. If Shen Luoqiu also died, then if this matter was spread out, then the Falling Dawn sect would really lose face. He struck out with his palm. A violent palm strike struck toward Wang Huairan. He didn't plan to show any mercy with this palm strike. Luo Xia wanted to kill Wang Huairan to avenge Lin Shaoqian, and at the same time regain the Falling Dawn sect's lost face. However, the palm strike was easily neutralized by an aura. Without Luo Xia's obstruction, Wang Huairan killed Shen Luoqiu with a single strike. Now, 2 of the Falling Dawn sect's men had been killed. This was a great loss. Who is it? How dare you stop my Falling Dawn sect from killing someone? Luo Xia noticed that the aura that neutralized his palm strike came from the Magnificent Sky sect. He immediately became furious, and his frightening fourth divine core aura erupted. This caused the disciples guarding the entrance of Shengtian sect to frown. What a joke! How dare you behave so arrogantly in my Magnificent Sky sect? A voice sounded out, and a man appeared in front of everyone. After that, Sheng Xingzong and the other men arrived as well. The sect chief is here. The sect chief and the sect chief are here as well. Initially, everyone was worried that Wang Huairan would suffer Luo Xia's revenge after killing Lin Shaoqian and Shen Luoqiu. However, Ling Zhao's appearance was considered to have made everyone swallow a calming pill. Aya, Huairan, you're too impulsive. You've killed someone from the Falling Dawn sect. I'm afraid our Magnificent Sky sect will have to face their wrath. Perhaps one of the sect elders was still stuck in his old mindset, and he was worried that someone would come looking for trouble. No, he's done a great job. Ling Xiao turned to the sect elder and said, if they don't offend me, I won't offend them. The Falling Dawn sect has already bullied us. Are we still going to hold back? Today, no one from the Falling Dawn sect will leave this place alive. The sect elder agreed. Although he didn't dare refute, in his mind he felt that Ling Xiao was too impulsive. Ling Xiao knew what he was worried about. That was why he had to use practical actions to make these people's worries disappear completely. Who are you? Endless Sunset frowned as she looked at Ling Xiao. He could feel that this young man's strength was absolutely not to be underestimated. Me. Didn't you hear them? I'm the Supreme Sect Master of the Shengtian sect. Ling Xiao looked at Endless Sunset and said, Supreme Sect Master? Endless Sunset frowned. He didn't understand when and where the Magnificent Heaven sect found such a so-called Supreme Sect Master. But now he seemed to understand why Shengtian sect's dragon vein was activated. Perhaps it was this person who did it. I don't care who you are, but you should know that the Shengtian sect is surrounded by powerful enemies. I don't know what kind of sweet words they use to trick you into working for them. But if you don't leave Shengtian sect immediately, I'll kill you. I'm afraid you're going to be out of luck next. The endless sunset glow made it impossible to see Ling Zhao's exact cultivation level. So, he didn't plan to make a move at this time. It would be best if he could scare Ling Xiao away. What a joke! You guys are considered powerful enemies? What a joke! Ling Xiao said disdainfully, these days I've been waiting for people to come and provoke me. But you guys didn't come for a month. Maybe I can move my muscles today. Shameless boasting. Since you're not willing to leave the Shengtian sect, I can only kill you. The only thing that Endless Sunset was afraid of was the Eastern Emperor demon vanquishing Array. As for this new Supreme Sect Master, he wasn't afraid at all. Die! Endless Sunset suddenly attacked. Her figure was like a rosy sunset glow, and it was impossible to see her real body. Xingzong subconsciously blocked with his sword. But before he could get close, he was sent flying by Endless Sunset's terrifying aura. Don't make a move, I'll do it. Ling Xiao smiled coldly. The Blood Sovereign sword appeared in his hand. Then he casually stabbed. A blood-red sword chi pierced out like a waterfall. At that moment, Endless Sunset, who was rushing over, had a drastic change in expression. He could feel that this casual attack of his opponents was extremely terrifying. In desperation, he changed the sword that was attacking Ling Xiao to block Ling Zhao's sword chi. Boom! A terrifying explosion rang out. The sword chi of the two turned into nothingness at the same time. But Ling Xiao's body didn't move at all. That boundless sunset glow was blasted back into the palanquin. Obviously, he was at a disadvantage. "Who the hell are you?" Endless Sunset was finally a little scared. The strength that Ling Xiao displayed was too terrifying. In Half-Demon City, he had never heard of such a young warrior who was so powerful. "It doesn't matter who I am. Now listen to me clearly. You have two choices. First, be killed by me and I will return your body to the Sunset Sect. Second, get out of the Sunset Sect and tell your father to swear allegiance to the Xingtian Sect within 3 days. Otherwise, the Sunset Sect can no longer stay in Half-Demon City." Ling Xiao said coldly, "What an arrogant guy. It's just one attack. Do you really think you're stronger than me?" Endless Sunset was truly infuriated. Then he soared into the air, and a terrifying aura constantly bloomed from his body. On his hands, there were 2 more metal gloves. This pair of gloves was a mortal Heavenly King weapon. Even in the entire Half-Demon City, there were no more than 10 of them. After taking out this pair of metal gloves, Endless Sunset's mood slightly calmed down. Did you see that? The Supreme Sect Master actually repelled Endless Sunset with 1 sword. That's right. He's too powerful. How did he cultivate? In the Shengtian Sect, everyone felt incomparable admiration and respect for Ling Xiao. Of course, they were also curious about his mysteriousness. The only thing they knew was that Ling Xiao had some relationship with the Dong Sheng ancient emperor, Dong Xingyin. I wonder who will win this battle. Sheng Xingzong was a little nervous. Endless Sunset wasn't old, but he was the 4th strongest warrior in the Shengtian sect. Besides the 3 peak 4th Heavenly Core warriors, he was the strongest warrior in the Shengtian sect. To be honest, they were really worried about him. Once Ling Xiao was defeated, the future of the Shengtian sect would become very bleak. Clang! Clang! A terrifying battle was taking place in the sky. The crowd could only see the light and fire produced by the collision of weapons, but they couldn't see what was going on. Both of them were too strong. Sunset Sky. Suddenly, Endless Sunset let out a furious roar. A terrifying aura burst out from his body. In an instant, the entire sky was filled with sunset lights. Ling Xiao didn't have any space to dodge. This attack is not bad. Too bad its range is too big, but it's not that powerful. Ling Xiao smiled and sheathed the Blood Sovereign sword. 9 demon, sovereign, swords hovered around him. 9 sword beams fused into one. It unleashed the frightening power of a 4th Great Emperor Realm Martial skill. Whistling through the air, it charged towards Endless Sunset. Chapter 3801. Facing Endless Luo Xia's strongest attack. Ling Xiao didn't dodge. Instead, he brewed the terrifying 9 swords into one. This was the attack of a 4th Order Emperor Martial skill. Compared to Endless Luo Xia's 4th Order Emperor Martial skill, it was much more powerful. The terrifying sword Qi brought about a gust of wind, completely blowing away the rosy clouds. Endless Luo Xia couldn't resist at all. After the rosy clouds were destroyed, the attack heavily bombarded Endless Luo Xia's body, blasting him to the ground. He heavily smashed into the ground. His body was almost embedded in the ground. A mouthful of blood sprayed from his mouth. This time, the injury was really not light. What kind of martial skill is this? How can it be so terrifying? Endless Luo Xia felt that his consciousness seemed to be a little blurred. It wasn't that he hadn't encountered a strong opponent before, but even so, there had never been a person who could suppress him so miserably. My ribs seem to be broken, and my internal organs are also ruptured. If it was an ordinary person, I'm afraid he would have died. Endless Luo Xia forced himself to stand up, but his body was still swaying. It could be seen that the injury was really not light. This scene made the cultivators of Xingtian sect and Luoxia sect extremely surprised. The people of Xingtian sect originally hoped that Ling Xiao wouldn't be defeated. No one thought that Ling Xiao could win against Endless Luoxia. But now, in this battle, Endless Luoxia was almost completely suppressed by Ling Xiao. The strength of the Supreme Sect Master is really unfathomable. No wonder he's so confident. One had to know that even in the entire Iron and Blood country, Endless Sunset was absolutely considered a top figure among the younger generation. But he can't take any advantage at all. Yeah, it feels like an adult abusing a child. The Supreme Sect Master should be using a Fourth Order Emperor martial skill. Our Xingtian sect doesn't have such a powerful martial skill. While talking, Ling Xiao had already landed on the ground. Hateful, insect demon possession, transform. Endless Luoxia originally didn't want to use this last resort, because once he entered the insect demon possession, he would completely lose his consciousness. This body would be completely controlled by the insect demon. Although his combat strength would become incomparably powerful, however, he was unable to use his own martial skills. Everything could only be left to fate. With a furious roar, Endless Sunset's body began to change. It was like a giant scorpion standing there, ferocious and terrifying. Ha ha ha, I'm out. A strange voice came from the huge scorpion's mouth. It was very ear-piercing. Hearing this, the Xingtian sect's martial artists frowned. Die, brat! The giant scorpion stared at Ling Xiao, let out a strange cry, and then pounced over. The insect demon and the martial artist were one and the same. If the martial artist died, the insect demon would also die. Therefore, although the insect demon did not want to fight Ling Xiao, it had no choice. If he didn't kill Ling Xiao, then Endless Sunset would die. I thought the Falling Dawn sect had some sort of trump card. So this is it. Do you think you're the only one who can transform? Ling Xiao smiled disdainfully. Then he transformed into his Hell Shadow Rabbit Beast Soul. His figure disappeared in front of everyone. Hell Shadow Strike. In the next moment, a cold voice bloomed in the void. People were shocked to find that a sword light pierced through and cut the giant scorpion in half. Endless Sunset returned to his original form, but he was on the verge of death. No, I don't believe it. I don't believe it. I don't believe it. Even if he was possessed by the insect demon, he could not resist at all. This caused Endless Sunset to sink into the greatest despair. In fact, he did not know that if Ling Xiao wanted to, he could become even stronger. The infinite heavenly rat beast soul transformation, the sky tyrant martial soul, and the divine elixir were all Ling Xiao's trump cards. Not to mention the terrifying army in the Dongshen Emperor Ring. After fighting for so long, Ling Xiao only used his Hell Shadow Rabbit beast soul transformation at the last attack. The rest of the time he did not transform. This showed how big the gap was between Endless Sunset and him. This is simply abnormal. You're scolding the Supreme Sect Master? No, this is indeed too abnormal. Every single person from the Magnificent Heaven sect felt like they were dreaming. Although Ling Xiao had given them a lot of surprises and shocks, they were still in a daze. But after witnessing Ling Xiao's brutal attack, they were still confused. Die! Ling Xiao raised his sword and walked towards Endless Sunset. Right at this moment, Endless Sunset had lost all of his strength to continue fighting. It could even be said that even breathing had become difficult. But if a divine core warrior couldn't be killed, it was still possible for him to come back to life. Therefore, Ling Xiao would never let this tiger return to its mountain. You can't kill me. I'm the young sect master of the Falling Sunset sect. If you kill me, the 3 superpowers will join hands and attack the Magnificent Heaven sect. At that time, you'll be dead for sure. You can't protect the Magnificent Heaven sect by yourself. Luo Xia, boundless, shouted weakly. Are you begging for your life? Too bad. You'll never be able to see the magnificent heaven sect. Ling Xiao swung his sword and chopped off Endless Sunset's head. Endless Sunset's inner core was also devoured by Jiangqin with his divine core. Jiangqin could feel an abundant amount of energy entering the divine core and his cells. He really killed him. The people from the magnificent heaven sect were stunned. As for the people from the Falling Dawn sect, they were terrified. Get lost, all of you. Today, I'll only kill the main culprit. Bring their bodies back and tell the sect chief of the Falling Dawn sect. Disband the Falling Dawn sect as soon as possible. If not, when I kill my way into the Falling Dawn sect, I'll make him suffer the same fate as his son. Ling Xiao waved his hand and said coldly. The remaining Falling Dawn sect disciples hurriedly carried the dead bodies of Endless Sunset, Shen Luoqiu, and Lin Xiaoqian and ran away. They came here in an aggressive manner, and they were extremely arrogant. But in the end, they ran away like cowards. Hilarious, pathetic. After killing Luo Xia boundless, Ling Xiao had become a stabilizing force in the hearts of the Shengtian sect members. Now the magnificent heaven sect could finally hold their heads high, although their cultivation had been breaking through non-stop for the past month. But because they had been oppressed for a long time, they were still afraid of the three major forces. But now it was different. Ling Xiao had completely swept away the haze in their hearts. He had made them proud. There was only one word in everyone's heart, and that was awesome. Continue to cultivate. There may be a fierce battle coming up, and I hope that everyone can participate in it. Let's completely sweep away the haze of these years. Ling Xiao was not a nanny. He could deal with those experts. But if the magnificent heaven sect wanted to become strong, whether it was the higher-ups or the disciples, they had to become strong and defend the sect's dignity. We obey the supreme sect chief's decree. Led by Sheng Xingzong, everyone cupped their hands and said loudly. In their eyes, Ling Xiao was no longer a mortal, but a godlike existence. Chapter 3802. Very good, this Falling Dawn sect's people have a lot of good stuff. Luo Xia's storage ring actually has 3 sets of martial skills written by hand. The strongest is a low-level 4th Order Emperor Realm, and the weakest is a low-level 2nd Order Emperor Realm. Lin Xiaoqian and Shen Luoqiu's storage rings also have good stuff. I don't want these. Take them and cultivate. Ling Xiao didn't care about those things. Since they were spoils of war, he naturally had to give them to Xingtian sect's people to cultivate. Xingtian sect's martial skills had been stolen and destroyed in recent years, especially the fire from before. Almost all of their emperor-grade martial skills were destroyed. Only those martial skills that had been learned had been passed down orally and had been preserved. Unfortunately, there were very few of them. Now, if they could get a few emperor-grade martial skills, they would be thanking the heavens and earth. Thank you, Grand Sect Master. Everyone thanked him again. Ling Xiao had already broken through the air and disappeared in the direction of the pill refining room. Falling Dawn Sect. Sect Master Luo Xia's face was gloomy, looking at the corpse on the ground. His whole body was trembling violently. The Falling Dawn Sect's Grand Elders and Elders had already arrived. There were also many core and inner disciples watching outside. Young Sect Master Luo Xia led more than 100 people to Xingtian sect to cause trouble. In the end, Luo Xia, Shen Luoqiu, and Lin Xiaoqian were all killed. This was like a nightmare. What happened? Luo Xia looked coldly at Chen Xuzhong, who was still alive. You said you wanted to destroy Xingtian sect. How could it be like this now? Young Sect Master is dead. Why did you come back alive? Sect Master is wise. This little one also didn't know that Xingtian sect suddenly had a young Grand Sect Master. His strength is too terrifying. Young Sect Master couldn't even fight back in front of him. Chen Xuzhong hurriedly said. He hoped that his good attitude would be able to save his little life. Grand Sect Master? Luo Xia looked at the others. Those people nodded one after another. Young Sect Master could only be beaten in front of that person. Where did Shengtian sect find such an expert? It looks like we can't rely on our Falling Dawn sect alone to take revenge. Men, contact the Sucking Blood sect and the Lion's Roar School. Tell them that this sect master has something important to discuss with them. Yes. Someone immediately accepted the order and left. Luo Xiameng glanced at Chen Shuzhong coldly and suddenly walked forward. You can accompany young sect master in death. Before Qin Shuzhong could react, Luo Xia's palm slammed down, killing Qin Shuzhong on the spot. His two best friends were also killed by Luo Xiameng's subordinates. Listen up. Don't go to the Shengtian sect for the time being. After giving the order, Luo Xianmeng left. Since the Shengtian sect had such a powerful existence, he had to increase his strength as soon as possible. Before the people from the other two forces arrived, he had to cultivate steadily for a period of time. In the blink of an eye, another few days passed. On this day, 3 groups of people suddenly arrived outside the Shengtian sect. Every group was like a fiend, and they were quite brutal. People of the Shengtian sect, listen up. Get out of the valley and hand over the dragon vein. Otherwise, don't even think about leaving alive. A thunderous roar resounded. It turned out to be a strong man with a lion's head. This man was about 3 meters tall and extremely powerful. He was the sect master of the Lion's Roar sect, Kuang Shi. There were 2 other groups of people. One group was the Luo Xia sect, led by Luo Xiameng. The other group was the Vampire sect, led by the sect master of the Vampire sect, Gui Ju. A few days ago, Luo Xiameng told the other 2 forces about the Shengtian sect's situation. After hearing it, they immediately responded. After all, a dragon vein was very important. Moreover, the mission given to them by the bloodthirsty sect was to harass the Shengtian sect and prevent them from growing. Now that the Shengtian sect had started to rise by relying on a young expert, such a thing must not happen. Impudent! You dare to attack my Shengtian sect? Are you not afraid of our Eastern Emperor demon vanquishing array? An elder of the Shengtian sect led a group of disciples to appear and shouted sternly. If it was in the past, he would not have dared to be so confident. But now, the Shengtian sect had Ling Xiao overseeing it. They were much more confident now. Ha 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 ha, I haven't seen you for a few days, and this group of trash actually dares to talk back. Kuang Shi laughed loudly. Men, kill him. After his laughter ended, he waved his hand. An expert of the Lion's Roar sect walked out. He directly pounced on the elder. Boom! The elder's strength had also increased by a lot. If it was in the past, he might have died after being attacked by the other party. However, this time he was only pushed back a dozen steps and blood flowed out of his mouth. The injury was not as serious as imagined. Kuang Shi, Gui Ju, and Luo Xiameng were stunned. It seemed that those who had escaped were right. The strength of the Shengtian sect's people seemed to have increased by a lot. They were no longer the trash of the past. Old thing, don't think that you can be so arrogant just because your strength has increased. I will still kill you. The Lion's Roar sect's upper echelon saw that he could not kill the elder of the Shengtian sect and felt embarrassed. He was immediately enraged. The terrifying Lion's Roar true qi erupted, and his strength instantly skyrocketed. He pounced again. With his current strength, the elder would definitely not be able to stop him. However, at this moment, a figure appeared in the void. There was a pair of demon wings on his back. As soon as he appeared, a terrifying fist energy blasted on the body of the Lion's Roar sect's upper echelon. Ah! A mournful scream rang out. The Lion's Roar sect's upper echelon's body was directly penetrated by the fist and fell to the ground, heavily injured. Shangbuel! The upper echelons of the 3 major forces recognized the person who attacked. It was Shang Buell of the Shangtian sect. However, it felt that Shang Buell was much stronger than before. At this moment, the people of the Shangtian sect had basically all arrived at the sect's entrance. They formed a tight defense. Only 2 people had not appeared. One was the Supreme Sect Master, Ling Shao. The other was his disciple, Sheng Yu. I heard that the Shangtian sect has a new young expert. Could it be you, Xing Buell? Luo Xiaoming frowned and asked. Of course not. I can't compare to that lord. Xing Buell shook his head. Not you? Why hasn't he come out yet? Is he going to be a coward? Kuang Shi furiously roared. There's no need for the Supreme Sect Master to deal with trash like you. We're more than enough. Xing Buell said with a grin. Ling Shao didn't show up, and they all believed that there must be a special reason behind it. No one would think that Ling Shao was a coward who was hiding and didn't have the guts to come out. Hee, nice words, but too bad, you're all just a bunch of shameless trash. Sheng Buell, you're indeed strong. But don't forget, there are a total of 7 fourth divine core warriors from the 3 major forces. You might not even be able to defeat one of them. 7, that's even more ridiculous. Just obediently ask that coward to come out. As long as you give us his nickname, we can consider sparing your lives. Luo Xiaoming sneered. Chapter 3803. Luo Xiaoming absolutely believed that with 7 fourth divine core warriors, it would be a piece of cake for them to deal with the sect chief of the Shangtian sect. The Shangtian sect was going to be destroyed today. Bullshit. Why would the sect chief be afraid of you little rascals? He is in secluded cultivation right now, and when he comes out, it will be the end of you little rascals. Sheng Buell respected Ling Shao a lot. After all, it was Ling Shao who saved him from the heavenly devil, and even gave him a 4th level emperor martial skill. He even gave him a lot of pills. Sheng Buell owed him a lot. There was no way he wouldn't return the favor. Fine, I'll start with you today. After I kill you, I don't believe that coward won't show himself. Luo Xiaoming walked out from the crowd. Without wasting any time, he charged toward Sheng Buell. Although Sheng Buell knew he was no match for Luo Xiaoming, he couldn't take a step back today. After all, in the Shangtian sect, besides the sect chief, he was the strongest person. If he didn't attack, who else could? In this battle, he had completely disregarded his own life and death, and used all his techniques to kill himself. In the beginning, he was able to force Luo Xiaoming back. After all, Luo Xiaoming didn't want to die. Most of the time, he didn't want to fight with force. But in the end, Luo Xiaoming was really annoyed. After more than 100 rounds of attacks, he still couldn't defeat Sheng Buell. Sheng Buell, since you're courting death, don't blame me for not showing mercy. Bang! A frightening aura emerged from behind him. It was a huge scorpion king with a colorful glow. Compared to Luo Xiaoming's scorpion, not only was Luo Xiaoming's scorpion bigger, it was also much more ferocious. Die now! Luo Xiaoming threw out a punch, causing the entire space to become extremely heavy. Bang! It was as if a huge mountain had crashed into Sheng Buell. Puff! Even though Sheng Buell wanted to die together with Luo Xiaoming, but in the end he only managed to push Luo Xiaoming 2 steps back, and some blood trickled down from the corner of his mouth. As for Sheng Buell, he was sent flying away and landed on the ground, coughing out blood. Obviously, he was severely injured. Don't think you can be so arrogant just because you're at the mid-4th divine core realm. Compared to this old man, you're still far inferior. Luo Xia sneered and did not intend to let Sheng Buell go. After all, this Sheng Buell was also a troublesome person. If he was not killed quickly, there would definitely be trouble in the future. Protect the Supreme Elder. Sheng Buell was now the Supreme Elder of Shangtian sect. No matter what he had done in the past, he truly wanted to protect Shangtian sect. Therefore, the people of Shangtian sect were willing to protect him. With Shang Xingzong as the leader, the higher-ups all stood in front of Sheng Buell. A motley crew. What a joke! Luo Xiaming didn't take Xing Xingzong and the others seriously. The terrifying fists waved once again, wanting to smash all these people into meat paste. Boom! Suddenly, a black silhouette attacked. Luo Xia hurriedly retreated in fright. Upon closer inspection, he discovered that it was a corpse. Supreme Elder, the one who exclaimed was a disciple of the vampire sect. Their Grand Elder concealed himself and headed to the Xingtian sect to destroy the Eastern Emperor Grand Array. But now he had become a corpse. It made them shudder. Welcome, Supreme Sect Master. The people of Xingtian sect saw the person flying in the void. It was their Supreme Sect Master, Ling Xiao. They couldn't help but feel less pressured, although they didn't think that Ling Xiao could drive away the three major forces by himself. But as long as he could make the other party bleed a little, the other party wouldn't dare to fight head-on. In this way, Xingtian sect could also get a chance to breathe. They didn't want to be bullied like fish on a chopping board like before. You must be the Supreme Sect Master who suddenly appeared in Xingtian sect. You look quite young. Luo Xiameng looked at Ling Xiao coldly. He knew that this was the person who killed his son, Luo Xiaowubian. Because of this, he didn't dare to take revenge alone because he was afraid that he would fail miserably. He chose to join forces with the other two major forces, which was a smart choice. But Mad Lion of the Lion's Roar sect and Ghost Duke of the Vampire sect felt that Luo Xiameng was making a big fuss over nothing. In their opinion, Luo Xiaowubian's death might have other secrets. Ling Xiao wasn't the only one who killed Luo Xiaowubian. Xing Buell might have helped him as well. If 2 4th-level divine core warriors were to join forces, there was no way they wouldn't die under the endless sunset. This was the only reasonable explanation. That's right. Ling Xiao looked at the men from the 3 major forces with an indifferent expression. They were all people. There were more than 100,000 of them. If all these people joined Xingtian sect, Xingtian sect's overall strength would skyrocket. Even the strongest sect in Half-Demon City, the Bloodthirsty sect, wouldn't dare offend them. Kid, I'll give you a chance. Get the hell out of Xingtian sect. What happened here has nothing to do with you. If you're stubborn, I'll kill you. Mad Lion furiously roared. We can't let him go. He killed our Supreme Sect Master. He must die. But Ghost Duke didn't want to let Ling Xiao go. You guys don't have to argue anymore. Since you're all here, none of you will leave here alive. As for the rest of you, if you're willing to pledge your loyalty to Xingtian sect, I won't kill you. Ling Xiao looked at all the men from the 3 major forces and said with an indifferent expression, "Ha ha ha, is this guy joking?" Mad Lion burst out into laughter. He thought Ling Xiao must have lost his mind. That's why he said something so ridiculous. Little bastard, today, your grandpa Mad Lion will show you what true cruelty is. Mad Lion furiously roared. Then a huge lion appeared behind his back. The lion shook its body. Then a violent golden beam shot towards Ling Xiao. Kuang Shi intended to kill Ling Xiao the moment he made his move. With that, Xingtian sect was finished. When the golden beam shot towards Ling Xiao, it transformed into a huge lion. Mad Lion himself was right in front of the lion's teeth. His hands formed into sharp claws. Even if it was a huge boulder as tall as a mountain, it would probably crack under the force of this grab. Even if the laws of the 4 major regions were more stable, Mad Lion's attack wasn't weak at all. At that moment, Ling Xiao directly entered the yin-yang universal tiger beast soul transformation. Behind him, a huge phantom of a cosmic light tiger appeared. Surprisingly, it was in a confrontation with the gigantic lion's shadow. However, Ling Xiao himself wasn't as powerful as Mad Lion. He just coldly smiled and casually raised the sharp blade in his hand, the Blood Supreme sword. Then, the sword pierced through the air. Boom! The terrifying sword Qi pierced through the void and directly pierced through Mad Lion's fist. It destroyed the huge lion formed by the golden light. Crack! The heavy armor on Mad Lion's body was also penetrated. It directly pierced through Mad Lion's body. This sword had injured Kwang Shi's internal organs. The sword chi was tyrannical. Mad Lion was directly sent flying. One sword and he was seriously injured. This scene was simply like a dream. How could this be? Mad Lion was seriously injured by that guy with one sword. Chapter 3804. The scene of Kwang Shi being severely wounded by a single sword strike was unbelievable to many people. They were completely dumbfounded. Although Kwang Shi was only a late 4th divine core warrior, he was a half-demon. When he transformed into a half-demon, his combat strength could definitely reach the perfect 4th divine core realm. But his opponent had just severely wounded Kwang Shi with a single sword strike. This was unbelievable. Fury of the Golden Lion, Golden Seal. Kwang Shi was severely wounded by a single sword strike. The Lion's Roar Sect's Supreme Elder, Elder Jin Shi, immediately attacked. His cultivation was the same as Kwang Shi, but because he was an expert in secret skills, he was much stronger than Kwang Shi. Therefore, he was much harder to deal with than Kwang Shi. He then started forming hand seals. Streaks of golden light shrouded Ling Xiao, forming a cage-like existence. It was obvious that he wanted to trap Ling Xiao within. Since they couldn't kill Ling Xiao, trapping Ling Xiao was the best choice. With Elder Jin Shi here, that guy will have a hard time. Even a perfect 4th divine core warrior won't be able to break the golden seal. Also, I don't think that guy is a 4th divine core warrior. As long as we can trap him, we'll be able to slaughter the entire Shintian sect. Hee, don't underestimate Elder Jin Shi. The golden seal is just the beginning. His most frightening killing strike will come after this. Everyone from the 3 superpowers were discussing amongst themselves. Sure enough, Elder Jin Shi made another hand seal, and countless golden lights turned into countless golden arrows. They were aimed at Ling Xiao, who was trapped in the cage. Buddy, since you dared to hurt our sect chief, I'll let you have a taste of having your heart pierced by thousands of arrows. Golden Thunderbolt, kill. Following his order, the tens of thousands of golden arrows flew towards the sealing cage. The power of these arrows was something that even a perfect 4th divine core warrior couldn't withstand. Right now, Ling Xiao was trapped in the cage. There was no way for him to dodge. This was a situation where death was inevitable. However, would Ling Xiao die so easily? Of course not. Right when the thousands of golden beams disappeared, to everyone's surprise, Ling Xiao was nowhere to be seen. Hell's Shadow Strike. In the next moment, a cold voice sounded out in Elder Jin Shi's ears. His entire body quivered. Unfortunately, it was too late. A sharp sword chi pierced into his heart. Elder Jin Shi spat out a mouthful of blood as he was sent flying. His injuries were even worse than the berserk lion's. Ling Xiao's figure appeared before everyone's eyes. The Hell Shadow Rabbit was just a shadow. Ordinary seals were meaningless to it. If Ling Xiao wanted to escape, it would be as easy as flipping his hand. Unfortunately, that idiot Elder Jin Shi didn't know this. He thought that he had trapped Ling Xiao to death. In the blink of an eye, 2 experts from the Lion's Roar School were wounded at the same time, and they had basically lost their fighting strength. Too powerful. This brat's cultivation is clearly not that strong. Luo Xianmeng was somewhat glad that he had made the choice back then. He hadn't come alone to seek revenge on Ling Xiao. Even so, he still found it hard to believe. If Ling Xiao could easily injure Kwang Shi and Elder Jin Shi, then he definitely wouldn't be a match for him. Long live Supreme Sect Leader. Kwang Shi and Elder Jin Shi from the Lion's Roar Sect were no match for him. They were defeated so easily. With Supreme Sect Leader here, our magnificent Sky Sect will definitely rise again. In the future, we will take back our homeland and drive the bloodthirsty sect away. Everyone from the Magnificent Sky sect were pleasantly surprised. To them, Ling Xiao's strength was truly unfathomable. It was truly inconceivable. A bunch of trash. You can either surrender now and pledge your loyalty to the Magnificent Sky sect, or you'll all die. Ling Xiao looked at the top echelons of the three superpowers and sneered. He was at the critical moment of breaking through to the fourth divine core realm. Only when the top echelons of the three superpowers joined forces could they pose a threat to him. With that, the energy in his cultivation ocean would increase even faster. Once he broke through to the fourth divine core realm, he would be able to face the powerful Yu Qilong. He wouldn't be afraid of a fight. Brat, you're too arrogant. Do you really think you can fight all the top echelons of the three superpowers by yourself? Gue Ju stared at Ling Xiao with an indifferent expression. Although Ling Xiao's strength was indeed shocking, but this guy was looking down on them too much. This was unbearable. If they couldn't defeat Ling Xiao today, perhaps the three superpowers wouldn't be able to show their faces in front of others in the future. And the bloodthirsty sect would definitely blame them for this. One of the supreme sect elders from the Sucking Blood sect had been killed by Ling Xiao. Therefore, only Gue Ju and Elder He were left. However, all of them were perfect fourth divine core warriors. As for the Falling Dawn sect, there were also 3 perfect fourth divine core warriors. Besides Luo Xiaoming, there were also 3 supreme sect elders. On the other side, the dying Kuang Shi and Elder Jin Shi had used a forbidden skill. It allowed them to stay in their peak condition for 1 hour. Unless their inner cores were destroyed, they wouldn't die. But after 1 hour, they would definitely die. As such, the 7 great cultivators all stood out and surrounded Ling Xiao. Sheng Xingzong, listen up. Bring all the warriors of the Shengtian sect back to the sect, and don't come out without my permission. This battle was going to be an earth-shattering one. Ling Xiao was worried that he might hurt his own people. That's why he asked them to step back. On the other side, the men from the 3 superpowers had retreated more than 1,000 meters away. A battle between 2 mighty warriors was something they couldn't interfere with. If they tried to interfere, they would only be courting death. This guy is not someone to be trifled with. Don't be careless. Kuang Shi reminded. Once he's dead, the Shengtian sect will be finished. Later, we'll kill them all to vent our anger. Gue Ju said coldly. All 7 mighty warriors knew that this battle was related to the future of the 3 superpowers and the Shengtian sect. Whoever won this battle would gain a position in the half-demon city. At that time, even the bloodthirsty sect wouldn't dare underestimate them. If they lost, the Shengtian sect would be destroyed. They were now outside the Shengtian sect, so they weren't worried about the Grand Orient Demon Vanquishing Array. After all, the Grand Orient Demon Vanquishing Array couldn't be moved, and they would only be attacked when they entered the Shengtian sect. Kill! Luo Xianmeng was the first to rush towards Ling Xiao. He was the one who started this. If he didn't make a move, the others wouldn't have attacked rashly. Luo Xianmeng was similar to the Golden Lion King. He was also good at using secret techniques. After flying into the air, Luo Xianmeng suddenly released a rosy glow that surrounded everyone. His rosy glow could have an amplifying effect on his own or his allies. It would increase their combat power by about 20 to 30%. Against the enemy, it could weaken their combat power by 20 to 30%. That was why he attacked first. He believed that under such circumstances, their chances of winning would be higher. Oh, interesting. It feels like a domain, but it's obviously more powerful. Ling Xiao wasn't afraid. Instead, he was a little surprised. Chapter 3805. Ling Xiao could feel that in Luo Xiaomeng's rosy clouds, he seemed to be bound by something. He couldn't use all his strength. However, this kind of power could only reduce his combat strength by 20 to 30% at most. It wasn't too far away. The troublesome thing was that this rosy clouds seemed to be able to increase the strength of all the warriors on Luo Xiaomeng's side. If one were to calculate this, the difference would be a difference of 40 to 50%. This was definitely not small. Don't forget, if one person's strength increased by 40 to 50%, then the total combat strength of 7 people would probably increase by about 3 times. Even Ling Xiao didn't dare to be careless. Golden Light Seal. Golden Lion King saw Luo Xiaomeng's attack and didn't want to fall behind, so he used the Golden Light Seal again. Although this Golden Light Seal was broken by Ling Xiao before, but that was when he was the only opponent. Now there were 7 people. In an instant, the Golden Light Seal condensed into a golden cage again, trapping Ling Xiao. Let's go together and kill him. Seeing that Ling Xiao was weakened and trapped again, the 7 people who were his opponents all smiled. The beginning of this battle was almost perfect. Ghost Duke and Elder Blackwing of the vampire sect attacked at the same time, turning into countless strange phantom bats. Every single one of these bats was extremely poisonous and incomparably sharp. The lethality was extremely terrifying. Compared to ordinary sword chi, they could continuously cause damage to the enemy. It was very terrifying. After Elder Jinshi used the Golden Light Seal, he used the Golden Light Seal as a foundation. He used the Golden Lightning. This Golden Lightning was controlled by his own soul power, so it wouldn't affect the attacks of his companions. Wild Lion took a sharp long saber from his back and directly stabbed at Ling Xiao. Although his attack was simple, its power was not weak at all. As for the 2 supreme elders of the Luo Xiao sect, they also used their supernatural powers, wanting to take advantage of the fact that Ling Xiao was trapped and kill Ling Xiao on the spot. Luo Xiaomeng certainly wouldn't fall behind. In addition to the rosy clouds domain, countless scorpions flew out from his hand. They crawled towards Ling Xiao. The destructive power of these scorpions was no weaker than those bats. The 7 great warriors worked together, trying to kill Ling Xiao as soon as possible. They didn't know if Ling Xiao had any other tricks up his sleeves. Therefore, killing Ling Xiao as soon as possible might be the best choice, to avoid any unexpected events. Facing such a ferocious and well-coordinated attack, even a 5th-level Divine Core Warrior, an early Golden Core Warrior, would be scared witless by this attack. Therefore, in the eyes of the crowd, Ling Xiao would probably not be able to escape this calamity. The people of the Heaven sect. We can't just, I'll go help the Supreme sect. Xingbule was anxious. He stood up and wanted to help. Chen's Chint, Xia sect take care of you. You, no, I love you. Eyes, I have you Yang of Chen. As Tubi said it before, listen to my orders. Divine, Jiang Chen's Tu's Tu. S of course, Luo, T's divine. S of divines is the of. S of test, they were pleasantly surprised. Since Ling Xiao still had the time to talk, it meant that Ling Xiao was fine. It was just as they had expected. Facing such a powerful opponent, Ling Xiao's expression was still calm. You guys can unleash the rainbow domain. Do you think I can't do the same? Bloodthirsty plague, unleash. With a sneer, the blood-red plague instantly filled the entire sky. The originally 7-colored light had now turned blood-red. The 7 great warriors who were attacking suddenly felt their chi and blood stagnate, and they felt extremely uncomfortable. Taking this opportunity, Ling Xiao swung the Blood Sovereign sword in his hand. A terrifying attack was unleashed. Blood Shadow Sword Art, Blood Light Clone Slash. The power of this attack had reached the level of a high, grade 4th Order Emperor martial skill. However, none of the 7 great warriors had a martial skill of the same level. Plus, they were affected by the bloodthirsty plague. With this attack, Ling Xiao had destroyed all the bindings. He actually has a high grade 4th Order Emperor martial skill. In Half Demon City, other than the bloodthirsty sect, no one else has such a martial skill. The Golden Lion King felt his golden light seal being destroyed again. He shouted in horror. Let's not talk about this martial skill. What are these blood-red things? They're too difficult to deal with. Kwang Shi felt extremely uncomfortable. It wasn't just his qi and blood, but also his soul. They had no choice but to circulate their qi and consume nearly 40% of their qi to suppress the bloodthirsty plague. In this way, the increase in their strength was completely offset. Once again, both sides were back to the same starting line. Ling Xiao, who had broken out of the trap, smiled faintly and looked at Elder Golden Lion and Kwang Shi. You said you won't die, right? I'll start with the two of you. Those who deserve to die should die obediently. Don't waste your time here. Whoosh! Ling Xiao's figure suddenly flashed. In an instant, he disappeared from the spot. Blood Shadow Kill. Although this move was only a low-grade 4th Order Emperor martial skill, it was fast enough. The move was also strange enough. As long as Ling Xiao used it, ordinary people wouldn't be able to dodge. They could only block. But no one knew who Ling Xiao's target was. He said he would kill Kwang Shi and Elder Golden Lion first. But who would dare to believe such words? Therefore, the 7 of them hurriedly circulated their qi to defend themselves. They didn't even think of protecting Kwang Shi and Elder Golden Lion. Qi. In the next moment, Elder Golden Lion saw Ling Xiao's sword. He desperately tried to block, but he still couldn't block it. He had just raised his weapon when Ling Xiao's sword pierced through his dantian. At this time, his biggest weakness was his internal core, although his body could survive. But if his internal core was destroyed, he wouldn't be able to survive. The Blood Sovereign sword was pulled out, and Elder Golden Lion's internal core was stabbed into it. The internal core instantly dissipated, and energy flowed into Ling Xiao's body through the Blood Sovereign sword. In the next moment, Ling Xiao's body disappeared again. I don't want to die. Elder Golden Lion's last consciousness began to blur. His body began to fall apart. At this moment, even if a golden immortal descended, it would be impossible to save him. Phantom kill! The cold voice sounded again, and this time, Ling Xiao appeared in front of Kwang Shi. He said that he would kill Elder Golden Lion and Kwang Shi first, and he really did so. Bastard, I'll kill you. Kwang Shi was furious. He was actually treated as a soft persimmon. Moreover, Elder Golden Lion had died in battle, so he had to take revenge. Clang! The broadsword in his hand actually blocked Ling Xiao's attack. Ling Xiao's lips curled into a smile. Not bad, as expected of a half-demon who likes to fight in close combat. Unfortunately, I want to kill you, and everything you do will be in vain. Multiple shadow kill. Suddenly, his body turned into several phantoms. Every phantom was incomparably real. Every sword stabbed towards Kwang Shi's dantian. It was just that the positions were different. Kwang Shi hesitated for a moment because he didn't know which one to block. In the end, his dantian was also pierced. The internal core disappeared. Chapter 3806. The Lion's Roar sect is finished. Although the Lion's Roar sect still had other great warriors, the only 4th Divine Core warriors were Wild Lion King and Elder Golden Lion. With both of them dead, the Lion's Roar sect was nothing in front of the Shentian sect. Shengbu alone was more than enough to wipe out the Lion's Roar sect. Luo Xiaoming, it's your Falling Dawn sect's turn now. Are you ready? After killing Wild Lion, Ling Xiao didn't stop. He turned around and leapt towards Luo Xiaoming and the 2 Supreme Elders standing next to him. Don't let him kill us one by one. Let's work together. Luo Xiaoming became anxious. If this continued, all 7 of them would be killed one by one, because none of them were a match for Ling Xiao. Only by working together would they have a chance to survive. Little thief, don't be so arrogant. Gui Ju and Elder Blackwing arrived next to Luo Xiaoming. They thought Luo Xiaoming was right. If they fought alone, they would be killed one by one. Only by working together would they have a chance to survive. Hee hee, are you going to stand together and let me kill you all? Divine Ice Dragon, freezing dragon breath. Behind Ling Xiao, a divine dragon that looked like an ice sculpture suddenly appeared. The divine dragon opened its huge mouth and spat out a cold breath. In just a split second, the two supreme elders from the Falling Dawn sect had been frozen into ice sculptures. The other three were very cunning. When they realized the danger they were in, they abandoned their own men and gained a brief moment of respite. Crack! Two ice sculptures fell onto the ground and shattered into pieces. Within the ice sculptures, something red could be seen. The two supreme elders from the Falling Dawn sect were so pitiful. They never thought they would die in such a cowardly manner. They also never thought that Luo Xiaming would abandon them at the last moment. Damn it, blood-red cloud. Luo Xiaming knew that since Ling Xiao had killed two supreme elders from the Falling Dawn sect, Ling Xiao would definitely attack him. In a hurry, Luo Xiaming hastily unleashed his escaping skill and prepared to run away. You know what? I hate guys like you who run away from a fight the most. Ling Xiao took out his arcane bow. There were 3 arrows placed on it. Frost arrows, flame arrow, transparent arrow. The 3 arrows were shot in order. The first sword froze Luo Xiaming for a moment. Just as the ice was about to melt, the second sword attack came, burning Luo Xiaming to the point that he couldn't care about anything else. The third arrow pierced through Luo Xiaming's throat. Luo Xiaming's death was even more humiliating than the 2 grand elders of the Falling Dawn sect. He wanted to escape at the last moment, but he was still killed in the end. Dark storm! Right at this moment, a cold voice suddenly sounded. Elder Blackwing had already arrived behind Ling Xiao. A terrifying aura was released from his body. A black storm rushed towards Ling Xiao's body. This storm was extremely powerful and could destroy anything in its path. Even if he couldn't kill Ling Xiao, he had to severely injure Ling Xiao. Although this move of yours is powerful and beautiful, there is no one to cover for you. You're courting death. Ling Xiao's figure suddenly turned into a blood-red lightning bolt. He dodged the black storm and arrived behind Elder Blackwing. He didn't use any special moves. He just stabbed his sword into Elder Blackwing's dantian. After breaking through to the divine core realm, Ling Xiao realized that the inner core was the key to killing a warrior. Therefore, during this period of time, he had been choosing to kill his enemies with the dantian, not the throat. How can he be so fast? This was Elder Blackwing's last thought before he lost consciousness. Damn it! How dare you hurt my father? Elder Blackwing was Gui Ju's father. As a half-demon, he had witnessed his father being killed. Gui Ju instantly forgot about his fear. Both of his eyes turned blood-red. His body transformed into a huge bat, and he charged towards Ling Xiao. He was fighting with his life on the line. Ling Xiao was caught off guard and was slapped to the ground by Elder Blackwing's claw. Blood trickled down from the corner of his mouth. Tsk tisk, he's injured. Looks like I shouldn't have underestimated my enemy. Ling Xiao wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth. With a sneer, he lightly stomped on the ground, and his body shot out like a cannonball. Since Elder Blackwing wanted to fight him head-on, he would fulfill his wish. His body entered the form of a demonic beast. He transformed into a ferocious, everlasting, heavenly rat. Flapping his wings, he engaged in a fierce battle with Gui Ju in the sky. Sparks flew everywhere in the sky. An everlasting, heavenly rat and a huge bat. It didn't look like a battle between warriors at all. Instead, it looked more like a battle between demon beasts. Neither side dodged the other's attacks. Both sides were attacking each other's vital points. However, in terms of the strength of his body, Ling Xiao was much stronger. After a brief moment, Gui Ju fell to the ground and turned into a dead bat. Since then, all 7 great warriors from the 3 superpowers had been killed by Ling Xiao. People from the three superpowers, listen up. Now is the time for you to make your choice. Pledge your loyalty to the Shengtian sect or choose death. Since he wanted to solve this problem, he had to solve it thoroughly. After all, Ling Xiao couldn't stay here for long. Therefore, these three superpowers had to either pledge their allegiance to him or be killed. We surrender. After thinking for a moment, someone finally stood up and surrendered. With one person taking the lead, the rest followed suit. The rest were basically the backbone of the three superpowers. But there were only about 10 of them. I don't believe that you dare to kill us all. If you provoke the bloodthirsty sect, your Shangtian sect will be finished too. One of those people shouted with certainty. He seemed to be certain that Ling Xiao wouldn't dare to kill him. So much nonsense. People of the Shangtian sect, listen up. Kill them. There was no need for him to kill these pieces of trash. It was time for the people of the Shangtian sect to do something. Yes. The people of the Shangtian sect were now absolutely obedient to Ling Xiao's orders. If he gave the order, those people wouldn't hesitate at all. In the blink of an eye, the dozen or so people who refused to surrender were killed. Soul Catcher. After subduing hundreds of thousands of people, Ling Xiao naturally didn't dare to be careless. He directly used Soul Catcher to control these people's minds. If these people dared to betray him, as long as he willed it, their souls would shatter and they would die. This was also his gift to the Shangtian sect. Sheng Buell, Sheng Xingzong, Wang Huiren, listen up. I order the three of you to each lead a team to the three superpowers and snatch all their good things. Killing people wasn't the goal, but obtaining resources was. The three superpowers had a lot of inventory over the years. This was a huge benefit to the development of the Shangtian sect. On this day, the Shangtian sect could finally hold their heads high. The past days of being a coward were completely over. I don't care about the rest. You guys solve it yourselves. I'm going back to cultivate. In the battle with the 7 experts just now, Ling Xiao had gained some insights. He wanted to strike while the iron was hot and turn those insights into his own strength. As for those trivial matters, the people of the Shangtian sect would solve it themselves. He didn't want to waste time. Chapter 3807. I still can't break through. Looks like I have to find something exciting to do. Ling Xiao decided to leave the Shangtian sect for a while. But before he left, for the safety of the Shangtian sect, he had to do something. For example, he had been collecting materials during this period of time in order to perfect and modify the Eastern Emperor Demon slaying formation. This would allow it to take effect for a longer period of time. Although its power might be slightly weaker, it wouldn't be much of a difference. But it could ensure the safety of the Shangtian sect for a long period of time, allowing the Shangtian sect's warriors to focus on their cultivation. After destroying the 3 superpowers, Jiang Qin had gathered all the materials he needed. Therefore, he gathered Sheng Buell, Sheng Xingzong, Wang Huiren, and the 3 supreme elders. He told them, I'm going to the bloodthirsty forest. I'm going to prepare for my breakthrough. During this period of time, all you need to do is to supervise everyone in the sect to focus on their cultivation. We don't lack any resources right now. Martial skills, energy stones, and energy, we have plenty of them. Hide your strength and bide your time. Everyone, go into secluded cultivation. As for any intruders, with my modified Eastern Emperor Demon slaying formation, even a 5th-tier Divine Core warrior won't dare intrude. Don't worry, Supreme Sect Chief. We can't always be under your protection, Xing Buell said. And there's one more thing. Xing Yu is still in secluded cultivation. Try not to disturb him. If anything happens, try to wait until I'm back. Ling Xiao stood up and looked towards the direction of the bloodthirsty forest. It was boring to bully weaklings all the time, and it wouldn't help him break through. He still needed to challenge some powerful existences, The reason why the bloodthirsty sect was so arrogant was because of the sixth-tier divine core bloodthirsty demon king in the bloodthirsty forest. Once he found a way to kill that demon, the bloodthirsty sect wouldn't be able to be so arrogant anymore. This was cultivation and also the last thing he would do for the Shangtian sect. The future development of the Shangtian sect would depend on themselves. Supreme Sect Chief, take care. Everyone bowed and sent Jiang Chen off. Ling Xiao nodded his head. Without wasting any time, he turned into a bolt of lightning and left. When he left, the Eastern Emperor Demon Slaying Formation was activated. The Bloodthirsty Forest was a place that both the Purple Mansion Great Country and the Iron and Blood Great Country feared. In the end, in the profound world, monster beasts were still the absolute majority. It was just that demonic beasts were not as intelligent as martial artists, so under normal circumstances, they would not form a huge force. It would be easy for martial artists to defeat them one by one. However, the Bloodthirsty Jungle was a special place. The Bloodthirsty Demon King had gained sentience and was able to control the demonic beasts in the Bloodthirsty Forest. This caused the Bloodthirsty Jungle to become a forbidden area for the martial artists of the two countries. Normally, those who weren't at least at the fourth divine core realm wouldn't dare enter this place. The Bloodthirsty Forest was extremely large, no less than the Purple Mansion Country and the Iron and Blood Country. To this day, no one was able to confirm the number of demonic beasts that lived there. However, it was said that there were at least 1 billion of them. The moment Ling Xiao stepped into the Bloodthirsty Forest, he could feel that he was being watched. The smell of blood wafted out from the forest, as if it wanted to scare him out of the forest. This terrifying murderous aura could disturb a person's mind. If a person didn't have a powerful soul, even if he wasn't attacked by demonic beasts, he would still be killed. Just by living in this murderous aura for a short period of time, he would be struck by the murderous aura and go crazy. Even the plants in the Bloodthirsty Jungle gave people a gloomy feeling. Even the tree trunks were blood red in color. Demonic energy filled the air. Walking alone in the forest, he could feel that he was being watched. However, Ling Xiao had nothing to be afraid of. With his strength, as long as he didn't enter the core area of the Bloodthirsty Jungle, he wouldn't be in any danger. Even if he did encounter the Bloodthirsty Demon King, he still had a way to escape. If worst came to worst, he could just unleash the divine flames and burn down the entire Bloodthirsty Jungle. He didn't believe that the Bloodthirsty Demon King wasn't afraid of him. The deeper he went, the stronger the murderous aura became. Ling Xiao finally understood why so many martial artists didn't dare enter this place recklessly. This terrifying place was really full of danger. However, the murderous aura wasn't harmful to Ling Xiao. Instead, it could stimulate his potential. It could help him break through as soon as possible. After the battle with the 7 experts, his cultivation C energy had increased by 30%. Although it wasn't much, it was still an improvement. At this time, although it was noon, it was no different from night in the Bloodthirsty Jungle. The trees that covered the sky completely blocked the sunlight. Along the way, Ling Xiao encountered several sneak attacks from demonic beasts, but he himself did not make a move. Instead, he released the ancient Dongxing Emperor's puppet beast to help him fight. He had no interest in these ordinary demonic beasts. Killing them would only be a waste of time. At the same time, somewhere about a mile away, a group of people was frantically fleeing. There were about 30 of them. Looking at their clothes, they should be demonic beast hunters. The treasures of demonic beasts could be exchanged for money in the half-demon city. These people were probably specialized in this kind of thing. Whether it was alchemy, making puppets, or making talismans, the materials of demonic beasts could be used. Now, each of their faces was filled with fear. Obviously, they had encountered trouble. Some of them had terrifying scars on their bodies. They weren't injured by humans, but by demonic beasts. At the back of the group was a middle-aged man in his 40s. He was the strongest person in the group. At this time, he was fleeing while releasing attacks and talismans behind him. He seemed to be stalling for time, because after every attack, he would shout at the group in front of him to run. They were probably being chased by something really terrifying. "Father, you should run too." The one at the front was a young man in his 20s. At this time, his body was already covered in scars, but because of his martial arts practice, it didn't affect him much. "Don't worry about me. You guys run and go to the half-demon city. As long as you enter the half-demon city, this demonic beast won't dare to chase you." The middle-aged man roared. "No, that demonic beast is too strong. Father, you can't stop it at all." The young man shook his head. "Yes, leader, you can't die. If you die, our hunter group will be completely destroyed." The rest of the people also shouted. Thinking of the terror of that demonic beast, they trembled all over. When they entered the bloodthirsty jungle, there were more than 100 of them. But now, there were only a few dozen people left. The rest were killed by that demonic beast. That bloodthirsty demonic beast had turned their companions into dried corpses. "What a joke! I won't die so easily." The leader said with a loud voice, "You guys should know that I'm a Peak First Heavenly Corps warrior. Back in the Purple Kingdom, I was a major of the Purple Kingdom's army. Although that demonic beast is strong, as long as my core isn't broken, I have nothing to fear." Chapter 3808. The group didn't stop talking when they were talking. That's why they were talking while running. If they just stood there, they would soon be caught up. "Leader, that demon only eats inner cores. Even if you're a divine core warrior, it's useless." "Stop talking nonsense. Daddy is the leader. I order all of you to get the hell out of here." The middle-aged man knew how frightening the bloodthirsty demon was. Although they only encountered a second-level divine core bloodthirsty demon this time, it was still very strong. It was still difficult to deal with. If he stayed, he would definitely die. But he couldn't allow the Iron Blood Hunter group to be wiped out here. As long as his son was still alive, there was still hope. Right now, the group was only a few hundred meters away from Ling Xiao. The young man in the front suddenly shouted, "Father, don't panic. I think there's someone over there." All warriors had good eyesight. Also, Ling Xiao was resting not far away from them, and he was roasting a divine vein demon tiger as food. The light from the fire was too eye-catching. Everyone could smell the aroma coming from it. Who is so arrogant? How dare he roast a demon beast in the bloodthirsty forest? Is he not afraid of death? The middle-aged man was startled for a moment, but he was extremely happy. If this man wasn't an idiot, then he must be very strong. Otherwise, he wouldn't have dared to do such an idiotic thing. But the middle-aged man felt a little guilty. It wasn't very nice of him to bring trouble to someone else. But before he could make up his mind, the young man had already started dashing in that direction. The rest of the men followed suit. Obviously, these men didn't think there was anything wrong with their actions. The middle-aged man shook his head helplessly. He had no choice but to follow them. When they were about 100 meters away, they saw a very shocking scene. Next to the clear river, there was a house. This house was obviously stored in a storage ring, and they could use it whenever they wanted to rest. It was comfortable, but it was a little too eye-catching. Normally, only those who were very strong dared to do this. If not, the chances of being robbed in the outside world were pretty high. Right now, a bonfire was lit outside the house. A demon tiger that was over 3 meters tall and 5 meters long was placed on top of the bonfire. It had been skinned and cleaned, and its tendons had been pulled out. This demon tiger was a frightening demon beast at the 9th level of the Divine Vein Realm. It was being roasted and eaten. This surprised everyone in the Iron Blood Hunter group. "Everyone, would you like to have some?" The young man controlled the fire and turned around to look at the crowd with a smile. The members of the Iron-Blooded Hunter group looked at each other, feeling somewhat disappointed. From the looks of it, this young man was not even 20 years old. He was so young, how strong could he be? He might not even be as good as their regiment commander. Even their captain wasn't a match for that monster. So it was even more impossible for this young man. Young man, hurry up and run. A monster is coming. I'm sorry for implicating you. The middle-aged man sighed and hurriedly shouted at Ling Xiao. However, Ling Xiao didn't seem to hear him at all. He just looked into the distance. The monster's breathing could be heard now. A terrifying demonic aura caused everyone to be terrified. Leader, don't bother about him. Let's hurry up and leave. He didn't know which family this brat came from, but he was used to being arrogant. That was why he was so impudent. This was the bloodthirsty jungle. His actions were simply courting death. Let's hurry up and escape. The members of the hunter group hurriedly shouted. That's right, father. Hurry up and leave. Don't bother about him. The monster is already coming. The young man also shouted. Who are you people? Ling Xiao suddenly sat down and cut off a piece of meat from the roasted demon fox. He handed it to the middle-aged man and asked. The middle-aged man shook his head. How could he still be in the mood to eat at this time? Young man, leave with my son and the rest. I'll block that monster. He stood up and walked towards the monster resolutely. Originally, he hoped that Ling Xiao could help them deal with the monster. However, he was a little disappointed when he saw him. Although he believed that Ling Xiao was definitely not an ordinary person, his strength should be on par with him or even lower. It was impossible to block that monster. He was the one who caused this trouble. He naturally couldn't let this young man die in vain. Hearing the middle-aged man's words, a strange look flashed across Ling Xiao's eyes. He smiled slightly and didn't say anything. Instead, he sat there and ate the delicious food. The monsters in the bloodthirsty forest all contained a powerful murderous aura. It was quite helpful for his strength to increase. Father, don't be foolish. Why are you helping an idiot who you don't even know? He's probably not even 20 years old. He's not even as old as our son. He's courting death by entering the bloodthirsty forest alone. It's better to let him be the bait to lure that monster away. The young man roared at the middle-aged man. He was really concerned about his father, but he was really ruthless to others. He actually tried to use Ling Xiao as bait for the monster. Shut up. Zi Qinghai, have always been open and above board. I will never do something that harms others for my own benefit. However, since this young man is unwilling to leave, you guys go first. I promise you that I'll definitely live. The middle-aged man suddenly roared. At this moment, the monster's roar was getting closer and closer. There was no time to delay. Let's go. The young man finally gritted his teeth. Since his father had already made the decision, he had to do it no matter how unwilling he was. Otherwise, if he delayed any longer, everyone would probably die here. After saying that, he took the lead and rushed out. The others still hesitated for a moment. After all, Zi Qinghai had done them a great favor. They really couldn't bear to leave Zi Qinghai behind. However, the hope of survival eventually drowned out the so-called kindness. Out of the dozens of people, only 7 remained. The rest had all fled. Sigh, people nowadays really don't know how to be grateful. They abandon their benefactor so easily. They knew that you would die, but they were unwilling to stay and help you. Especially that son of yours. He's too disappointing. Seeing the dozens of people leave, Ling Xiao stood up. That monster tiger had already completely turned into bones. He did not know how Ling Xiao ate it. I volunteered. Zi Qinghai said, young man, you should leave too. Volunteered? Even if you volunteered, they should have knocked you out and taken you away. If we had to escape, we would have escaped together instead of leaving you alone to face danger. Besides, everyone knows that you can't stop that monster at all. Sooner or later, all of you will die. Even so, they were still unwilling to risk their lives for you. Instead, they chose the illusory hope of escaping. If you don't have a heart of gratitude, it's the same no matter how much you say. As Ling Xiao spoke, he had already arrived in front of the middle-aged man. Chapter 3809. You guys are lucky. I like you guys so you don't have to die. Ling Xiao's voice suddenly sounded. The 8 of them, including Zi Qinghai, were a little confused. They didn't know what Ling Xiao meant. Zi Qinghai was about to ask when a fishy wind suddenly blew out from the dense forest. A huge figure appeared indistinctly. A terrifying murderous aura enveloped this small open space. The surrounding trees were all trembling. Soon, the terrifying monster appeared. Its body wasn't big, but it had a very unique appearance. Its face was like a leech, and it looked very disgusting, but it was much bigger than a leech. Below it was a human body. Its hands were not human hands, but tentacles with suction cups. Ling Xiao had never seen such a monster since entering the bloodthirsty forest. This was the first time. It was really a little disgusting. If he hadn't seen many strange things in the past, he would have vomited. The bloodthirsty demon is here! Zi Qinghai shouted in horror. The bloodthirsty demon's body exuded a terrifying aura, which made him tremble. Then the bloodthirsty demon made a strange and unpleasant sound, like a ghost's voice. Yes, it's you guys. You've disturbed my rest. All of you will become my nutrients. Leave quickly. Zi Qinghai suddenly had the courage to grab Ling Xiao's arm and pull it back. Then he rushed toward the bloodthirsty demon. He was actually not weak, but he couldn't face the bloodthirsty demon. He waved the blade in his hand with all his might, but he could only cut off one of the bloodthirsty demon's tentacles. But the bloodthirsty demon had already wrapped around his body, and the suction cup was aimed at his forehead. It wanted to suck away all of his blood and brain matter. Leader, the 7 people who were left behind looked at each other. In the end, they gritted their teeth and pounced forward. Monster, we'll fight it out with you. They were saved by their leader. If their leader died, they were willing to die with him. Perhaps this was a little stupid, but they didn't care. Right at this moment, a blood-red swordlight suddenly shot past them. They didn't have time to react to what was going on. The monster's head had been split open. The tentacles softened and threw Zi Qinghai onto the ground. Soon after, the raging fire burned, and the bloodthirsty demon let out a terrified cry from within the flames. It turned into a pile of black ash. It's him. Zi Qinghai turned his head and saw that the house in the forest had been put away at some point. The young man from earlier had long disappeared without a trace. I only saw a sword light, and that bloodthirsty demon was actually killed. He's too strong, one of the warriors said excitedly. That's a true hidden swordsman. He's so strong. I think he's at least a second divine core warrior. Another person said, Fortunately, we didn't offend him. Otherwise, even if he didn't attack us, he wouldn't help us. The third person heaved a sigh of relief. Let's go. Let's hurry up and catch up with the main group. Zi Qinghai took a deep look at the bloodthirsty forest. Then he bowed deeply and called for the 7 of them to leave. At this moment, Ling Xiao had already reached the depths of the bloodthirsty forest. After killing the bloodthirsty demon, he realized that there was something strange about this bloodthirsty forest. These bloodthirsty demons obviously weren't formed naturally. They were modified by humans. There were records of bloodthirsty demons in the ancient era as well, but they were much stronger than those trash. They could even transform into beautiful human forms. No matter what the reason is, it has nothing to do with me for now. This is just the outer perimeter, but I've already met an early second divine, core bloodthirsty demon. I think the deeper I go, the stronger the demons I'll meet. I'd better get closer first and try not to provoke those existences that I shouldn't. After thinking about this, Ling Xiao slowed down his speed. He was here to cultivate, not to throw away his life. It would never be wrong to be a little more cautious. Disciple, I feel like those bloodthirsty demons are transformed from humans. Yuan Venerate's voice suddenly sounded out. Humans? Ling Xiao furrowed his brows. That's right, they must have been infected by some evil technique. This place is very strange. You must be careful. If not, the Eastern Victory superpower would never allow a place like this to exist. Although the bloodthirsty Demon King is strong, he is only at the 6th Divine Core realm. The Eastern Victory superpower has a 9th Divine Core warrior. It's not hard to kill him. But why is he still alive? Yuan Venerate analyzed. Master's words make sense. I understand now. Ling Xiao nodded his head. Then he immediately transformed into the Hell Shadow Rabbit. Caution is the parent of safety. If the bloodthirsty forest was really controlled by some intelligent monster, the powerful, bloodthirsty Demon King might not be hiding in the deepest part of the forest. If he suddenly appeared, he would be caught off guard. Using the Hell Shadow Rabbit to transform into the Shadow Warrior form was the safest option. Perfect in order to cultivate the Blood Devil Seal. I'll need 3,000 demon cores from demon beasts at the 4th Divine Core realm and above. It's best to get demon beasts like the bloodthirsty demons that love fresh blood and have a strong killing intent. This way, the Blood Devil Seal will be even more powerful. Following the breakthrough in his cultivation, Ling Xiao started studying the Blood Devil Seal. It turned out that the Blood Devil Seal wasn't really a 6th Order Emperor Realm Martial skill. Although it was a 6th Order Emperor Realm Martial skill, whether it was a 6th Order Emperor Realm Martial skill or a High Order Emperor Realm Martial skill depended on the quality and quantity of materials used. The stronger the killing intent, the better the effect of cultivating the Blood Devil Seal. The bloodthirsty demons were the perfect demon beasts for cultivating the Blood Devil Seal. Ling Xiao was very satisfied with the result. According to the ancient emperor's understanding of the Blood Devil Seal, he only needed one early 6th Order Divine Core Demon Core. Then he would be able to cultivate the 6th Order Emperor Realm Blood Devil Seal with 3,000 demon cores at the 4th Order Divine Core Realm. This mission wasn't simple at all, but Ling Xiao always believed that he had good luck. Right now, his priority was to get the 3,000 demon cores from the bloodthirsty demons. After thinking about this, he immediately increased his speed. Since he was in his Shadow Warrior form, he wouldn't be discovered by any demon beasts. As long as he didn't attack or do anything else, he would be fine. Ling Xiao wouldn't touch most of the demon beasts. Only when he encountered bloodthirsty demons at the 4th Order Divine Core Realm or demon beasts with strong killing intent like the bloodthirsty demons. Then he would suddenly unleash a sword skill and kill them with a single strike. After killing them, he would immediately leave. If there was someone watching from the side, they would definitely notice a strange phenomenon. All the bloodthirsty demons in the bloodthirsty forest had suddenly died. Their demon cores and demon cores had been taken away by someone, but they couldn't see who it was. This was why Ling Xiao was so frightening. If he wanted to, any demon beasts or warriors below the 4th Order Divine Core Realm would be nothing in front of him. Chapter 3810. In fact, when Ling Xiao was facing the 7 great warriors, he had actually held back his strength. If not, he would have been able to kill all of them in a much shorter period of time. Of course, there was no need to mention this. In the end, it was because his opponents were too weak. Ling Xiao's current goal was to defeat Yu Qilong. Therefore, he had to break through to the 4th Divine Core Realm at least. With his current strength, he could only guarantee that he wouldn't die in front of Yu Qilong. In order to kill him, it was as difficult as ascending to the heavens. He didn't run away willingly, he was forced to do so. Therefore, he had been suppressing the urge to return to the Z Kingdom. After all, that was where he had started his journey in the 4 regions. He wouldn't let it go so easily. Let's continue. As Yu Qilong's image appeared in his mind, Ling Xiao's killing intent became even stronger. At the same time, in the capital of Ziling Kingdom, the once prosperous city was now filled with corpses. The air was filled with a foul stench. Mosquitoes and flies were dancing in the air. A once prosperous city had turned into a dead city. Only the king mansion was protected by a formation, and no one was allowed to enter. Within the Purple Palace Army's camp, a young man and a young woman had taken over the place. They were the mighty warriors from the Dongsheng Kingdom. They were here for the immemorial martial skill and the Dongsheng heavenly sword. Right now, in the former general's mansion, the king of Z Kingdom was kneeling down in fear. Together with him were the Purple Palace Army's marshal and the remaining 3 generals. In just over a month, the king had witnessed how the capital of Ziling was turned into a dead city. The one who did it was that frightening woman. She was the woman who came here with Gu Fenghua. She was only in her early 20s, but she was cruel and merciless. Her name was Qing Moshue. Her name was nice, and she was very pretty. However, her methods were extremely cruel. No one knew what her martial soul was. But after she unleashed it, the entire capital of Ziling was filled with an eerie aura of death. Those normal people had turned into monsters who only knew how to eat people. This was terrifying. Although Zi Qinya had sent people into the King Mansion to protect them, the King Mansion had limited space. There were too many people in the capital of Ziling. Apart from those who ran away in a hurry, tens of millions of people would have died tragically or turned into monsters. There was only one reason Qing Moshue had done all this. Zi Qinya was unwilling to be captured. "Stop kneeling," Gu Fenghua said indifferently. This voice seemed to have a magical power, causing the kneeling crowd to quickly stand up. They didn't dare to resist at all. Gu Fenghua was too powerful. The strength of a 7th divine core warrior was terrifying to the extreme. Even the emperor of the Z Fu Kingdom was like an ant in front of him. 7th divine core warrior, he was an earth core warrior. At the earth core stage, one's inner core could absorb the power of the earth and attack using the power of the earth. Compared to a 6th level divine core warrior, a mortal core warrior was many times more frightening. Even if Zi Qinya had the blood revered armor, he was still no match for this person. Because of this, Zi Qinya had no choice but to hide in the king's manor. However, more than a month had passed. The monarch's residence had a limited amount of food and resources. In addition, the monsters that had been turned into walking corpses kept attacking. Even the formation protecting the king's residence was on the verge of collapse. No one knew when it would be destroyed. The king of Zifu looked at Gu Fenghua with fear and trepidation. He was a man with long blood-red hair, blood-red eyes, and wearing a blood-red robe. Judging from his appearance, this man was emitting a bloody aura and a murderous aura. His appearance was originally very handsome, but because of this additional murderous aura, there was a strange and evil feeling to it. Heaven slaying blade demon, a frightening existence that can even shatter the heavens. The king of Zifu thought to himself. After offending this man, perhaps Zi Qinya's resistance was just a futile struggle. He wouldn't be able to hold on for much longer. Sitting on Gu Fenghua's lap was a young girl in her early 20s. This girl had a charming appearance. She was wearing a long black dress, and she gave off an eerie feeling, but at the same time, she was terrifyingly beautiful. One had to admit that she was very beautiful. She was worthy of Gu Fenghua's appearance. But after what had happened, the king of Zifu no longer dared to treat this girl as a beautiful woman. In his mind, this girl was a devil. Perhaps only a man like Gu Fenghua could suppress her. Sigh, I didn't expect to attract such a monster. The king of Zifu still felt fear in his heart. He thought that he was cruel enough. But this girl, even he felt fear. Qing Moshue had another identity. She was a relative of the Yu family. Qing Moshue's mother was Yu Zhen's sister. This time, she was probably here for the Z family. Therefore, no matter if the Z family obtained those treasures or not, she would not let them go. As the disciple of the emperor of Dongxing Kingdom, and a member of one of the big families in the imperial city of Dongxing Kingdom, How could she allow the small Z family to bully her mother's family? Chinyu, why do you look so scared? Qing Mashue's laughter could be heard as she looked at the king of Zifu. I just feel that I haven't done my job properly. That's why I'm scared. Qingyu explained. He was an old fox, and he knew how to deal with things, especially when he was facing Gu Fenghua and Qing Mashue, these two monsters. Not to mention Gu Fenghua. She was an Earth Core warrior. He was definitely no match for her. As for Qing Mashue, she was at the same cultivation level as him, a perfect mortal core warrior. He could not afford to offend her. So, you still know how to be scared? You can't even handle such a small matter. Did that Ling Xiao disappear into thin air? Are you really going to let him escape with the ancient martial skill and the sovereign blood sword? Qing Mashue walked in front of Chinyu and looked at him with a smile. Chunyu's heart tightened. This woman was a smiling tiger. Although she was smiling now, no one knew what she would do next. While he was thinking, Qing Mashue suddenly slapped him. Chunyu did not dodge, and he could not. He allowed Qing Mashue to slap his face. Although it was painful, it was also humiliating. But he still endured it. He knew what would happen if he offended this man and woman. Don't be rash. Chinyu is the king of Zifu, and he is loyal to us. Gu Fenghua looked at Qing Mashue and said with a frown. Although she was not satisfied, she did not blame her. Obviously, in Gu Fenghua's eyes, the weight of a mere Fu Kingdom's king was completely incomparable to her junior sister. Ayaya, I'm sorry, Chinyu. I couldn't control myself and hurt you. Don't blame me. Qing Mashue said with a smile as she looked at Chinyu. She did not feel like she did anything wrong. Miss, you must be joking. As a subordinate, I didn't do my job well. I deserve to be hit. Chinyu is really a person who could tolerate things. Chapter 38:11. Gu Fenghua looked at Chinyu and said, It's good that you can think this way. Continue to search for Ling Xiao. Also, continue to send messages to the King Mansion. From today onwards, every day, we'll destroy a small city in Purple Spirit Kingdom. I heard that Zi Qinya loves her people like her own children. I'd like to see if she'll come out. Senior brother, leave this matter to me. Qing Mashue said with a smile. My martial soul needs a large number of living people to experiment on, and these people are perfect. All right, I'll leave it to you. Have fun. In Gu Fenghua's eyes, the people of Purple Spirit Kingdom weren't even human. He could make these people lose their lives just by casually speaking. Not only would they lose their lives, they would also become monsters that didn't look like humans. Chinyu furrowed his brows. Even if it was just for the immemorial martial skill and the blood sovereign sword, there was no need to be so cruel. After all, not only were these people from Purple Spirit Kingdom, they were also the people of Z Kingdom and the people of Dongshin Kingdom. What Gu Fenghua and Qing Mashue did was a disgrace to the imperial family. But it looked like the emperor of the Gu family didn't care about this at all. Ling Xiao had no idea what was happening in Purple Spirit Kingdom. To be honest, even if he knew, there was nothing he could do. Of course, even if he couldn't do anything, he would still return immediately. After all, Zi Qinya and Zi Long were good friends to him. Purple Spirit Kingdom was an important stronghold for him, and he couldn't allow it to be destroyed like this. But too bad he was currently killing bloodthirsty demons in the bloodthirsty forest, collecting their demon cores. He had no idea what was happening. Shaking off the blood on the blood sovereign sword, Ling Xiao murmured to himself. Only 100, continue. Although he was strong, he still didn't dare to use a large-scale killing martial skill in the bloodthirsty forest. If he did, he would attract the bloodthirsty Demon King, and that would be troublesome. Luckily, the deeper he went into the bloodthirsty forest, the more bloodthirsty demons there would be. With this speed, it wouldn't take long for him to gather all 3,004th divine core bloodthirsty demons' crystal cores. Once he broke through to the 4th divine core realm, he would start cultivating the blood devil seal. That way, his strength would become even more powerful. Time really passed very quickly in battle. In the blink of an eye, another 3 days passed. The bloodthirsty Demon King in the bloodthirsty forest seemed to have sensed some changes in the forest. His subordinates were mysteriously disappearing one by one. However, the culprit's actions were too secretive. Until now, there were no clues. In addition, the bloodthirsty demon monarch was currently cultivating. He also knew that on the path of martial arts, one would fall behind if they did not advance. If he could not increase his strength, he would be killed by those martial artists sooner or later. Therefore, they were not particularly sensitive to what was happening around them. They only sent a small team to investigate the situation. However, Ling Xiao had long since discovered the bloodthirsty Demon King's existence. He was very cautious in all his actions. Therefore, the bloodthirsty Demon King's investigation was basically meaningless. In addition, there were quite a number of martial artists adventuring in the bloodthirsty forest. Although they didn't dare to venture too deep, this was a place where a fourth divine core demon beast resided. Occasionally, they would spot a few. Somewhere, for mighty warriors had their eyes on a fourth divine core bloodthirsty demon beast. This bloodthirsty demon was different from the one Ling Xiao encountered before. It looked more like a huge bat. Ling Xiao, who had killed more than 2,000 bloodthirsty demons, knew this very well. Bloodthirsty demons had more than one form. These demons were made up of human warriors, beast warriors, ocean warriors, demon beasts, and so on. Therefore, their appearances were completely different after their transformation. These 4 mighty warriors were all peak 3rd divine core warriors. Although Ling Xiao hadn't stayed in Half-Demon City for long, he still recognized them. These 4 men were the famous 4 great hunters of Half-Demon City. The reason why they dared to come here was because they were confident they could kill a bloodthirsty demon beast. This huge bloodthirsty bat has left the bloodthirsty forest many times recently, and it has destroyed a few villages near Half-Demon City. It has killed many people. Today, we brothers have to kill it no matter what. That's right, but be careful. The bloodthirsty bat is a type of bloodthirsty demon. It's much stronger than ordinary demon beasts. Also, this thing's sonic attack is very powerful. Even if you block your ears, it's useless. Be careful. For an ordinary perfect 3rd divine core warrior, an early 4th divine core bloodthirsty bat was a frightening existence that was comparable to a boss. After all, not everyone had a heaven-defying ability like Ling Xiao, who could challenge those at a higher cultivation level than him. The 4 men finished their discussion. Then they attacked the bloodthirsty bat from 4 different directions. Obviously, they were good at teamwork. But too bad, the bloodthirsty bat was much stronger than they had imagined. That terrifying demonic beast opened its ugly mouth, and a terrifying sound was released from its mouth. In just a split second, only 2 of the 4 men managed to dodge the sonic attack. The other 2 men were sent flying away, blood flowing out from all 7 of their orifices. If they were ordinary men, they would have been dead by now. Luckily, they were warriors and divine core warriors at that. Therefore, they didn't die. The bloodthirsty bat didn't seem like it was going to let these 2 men go. It opened its mouth again, and a small red bat flew out from its mouth. When the other 2 men saw this, they immediately stepped forward and tried to rescue them. They knew what those small red bats were. They were the frightening, bloodthirsty bats. Once they were surrounded, 2 of their brothers would die on the spot. Not only were these 4 men partners, they were also blood brothers. Therefore, they couldn't abandon any of them. But when they tried to rescue their brothers, they would have to face the bloodthirsty bat's attack. Someone would definitely die. Damn it, we underestimated the enemy. This bloodthirsty bat is much stronger than we thought. All 4 men were upset. They had once worked together to kill an early 4th divine core demon beast. But they didn't realize that this bloodthirsty bat was much stronger than those demon beasts at the same cultivation level. Just as they were filled with despair, a sharp arrow suddenly pierced through the air. It pierced through the bloodthirsty bat's mouth. The bloodthirsty bat was instantly frozen. These 4 hunters had been hunting in the bloodthirsty forest all year round. How could they let go of such an opportunity? At the same time, they unleashed their strongest attacks. In an instant, the bloodthirsty bat was turned into ice shards. After killing the bloodthirsty bat, the 4 men turned their heads around and looked at a young man not far away. "Thank you for saving us." They bowed and said, "Don't worry about it. I just want its demon beast core." Ling Shao said with an indifferent tone, "Saving people was just a matter of convenience. The demon beast core was the key." Chapter 38:12. After all, an early 4th divine core bloodthirsty bat's demon crystal core was extremely valuable. A single demon crystal core was worth a few 100,000 upper rank soul stones. For a warrior who hunted for a living, this was definitely a huge sum of money. "Here you go." The leader of the 4 hunters threw the demon crystal core to Ling Shao. It was obvious that these 4 men weren't small fries. At least, they knew how to repay kindness. "May I know your name?" The leader of the 4 hunters asked. "Xingtian Sect's Supreme Sect Chief, Ling Shao." After finding out that this man had a good character, Ling Shao told him his name. This could be considered as recruiting talents for the Xingtian Sect. These 4 men were all on the verge of breaking through to the 4th divine core realm. Once they joined the Xingtian Sect, the sect's overall strength would definitely skyrocket. After saying that, he disappeared from the scene. The 4 men were startled. Then they heard a faint voice coming from afar. "Don't enter the bloodthirsty forest for the next few days. The bloodthirsty demon king is showing signs of awakening." "Brother, I'm not dreaming, right? He's so young, but his strength is so frightening." One of the men who was injured just now finally recovered from his shock. "Many mighty men are like this. Listen to him. Let's return to Half Demon City." The leader of the 4 men thought for a moment and said, "Once you've recovered, let's pay a visit to the Xingtian Sect. Let's thank this mighty man." Of course, thanking him was one thing, but they also wanted to befriend this mighty man. After all, there was no harm in doing so. After saying that, the 4 men quickly left the bloodthirsty forest. As for Ling Shao, he continued with his hunting. Up until the last demonic beast core, he had already obtained 2,500 demonic beast cores of the bloodthirsty demons. He still needed 500 more. As long as he worked harder, he would be able to get them soon. One had to know that it had only taken him 2 days to obtain 2,300 pills. It would probably take him half a day to get 500 demon crystal cores. But the next problem was that he had killed all the 4th divine core bloodthirsty demons in this area. If he wanted to find more, he would have to go deeper. But the deeper he went, the more likely he would run into the bloodthirsty demon king. He had to be more careful. However, being careful was just being careful. He was definitely not afraid. Originally, one of his goals in entering the bloodthirsty forest was to deal with the bloodthirsty demon king. He wasn't a match for him in a direct confrontation, but he still had other tricks up his sleeve. As long as they could trap the bloodthirsty demon king for a period of time, the bloodthirsty sect would have no one to rely on, and the Xingtian sect would be able to develop even faster. What's more, he had to cultivate the blood devil seal. Therefore, he had to obtain the 3,000 bloodthirsty demons' crystal cores. As for the crystal core of a 6th level divine core demon beast, it all depended on one's luck. After all, with his current strength, it was not easy to obtain a demonic beast core of that level. After breaking through to the 3rd divine core realm, his speed had started to slow down. Even with the Heart of Gold and the Blood Yang Sutra, he couldn't reach the same speed as before. After killing over 2,000 bloodthirsty demons, the energy in his cultivation ocean had only increased by 20%. Currently it was 50%, but it was getting slower and slower, and Jiang Chen had no idea when he would be able to break through to the fourth divine core realm. How troublesome! But no matter how troublesome it was, he had to continue. Once again, Ling Xiao disappeared. He walked deeper into the bloodthirsty forest. He believed that the powerful killing intent would be able to better stimulate the potential in his body. It would also help him break through to the next level. According to a reliable source, that young man seems to have come to Half Demon City. While Ling Xiao was cultivating with all his might in the bloodthirsty forest, two men appeared at the entrance of Half Demon City. One of them looked like he was in his 30s. On his cold face, a murderous intent could be seen. It was as if he had an endless amount of hatred. A frightening aura was unleashed from his body, causing all the passers-by to run away in fear. The other man was an old man with silver hair. Although he was strong as well, his aura was weaker than the middle-aged man. Right at this moment, a group of men were walking towards Half Demon City from the bloodthirsty forest. They seemed to be excitedly talking about something. "Young chief, you didn't see it with your own eyes. That young man is really strong. With just a single strike, he killed a second divine core bloodthirsty demon. Impossible, he looks like he's only 18 years old. How can he possess such frightening strength?" "My son, this is where you're wrong. Your father was saved by that man. How can I be wrong?" The man who spoke was Zi Qinghai. They were saved by Ling Xiao, and that was why they were able to escape from the bloodthirsty forest safely. Seeing that they were about to arrive at Half Demon City, they finally felt relieved. Therefore, they started talking about Ling Xiao. Of course, they didn't know Ling Xiao's name and identity. "The man you're talking about, does he look like this?" Suddenly, a cold voice sounded out. The middle-aged man in his 30s picked up a portrait. The man in the portrait looked 80% similar to Ling Xiao. The young man from the Iron Blood Hunter group was about to say something. Zi Qinghai suddenly realized that something was wrong, so he quickly said, "We didn't see it clearly." That man was extremely fast. He disappeared after killing the bloodthirsty demon. What weapon did he use? The middle-aged man asked again. This middle-aged man was none other than Yu Qilong. He had chased Ling Xiao all the way to Half Demon City. When he suddenly heard that there was a guy about the same age as Ling Xiao in the bloodthirsty forest, his intuition told him that it was Ling Xiao's style. Therefore, he asked another question. "It seems to be a saber," Zi Qinghai replied. He felt a terrifying, murderous aura from the other party, and knew that the middle-aged man was going to harm Ling Xiao. As a person who knew how to repay kindness, he was unwilling to betray Ling Xiao. The previous answer was because they had let it slip just now. Even a fool could tell that they had changed their answer. "Saber?" Yu Qilong frowned. He couldn't tell if Zi Qinghai was telling the truth or not. After all, although Zi Qinghai's cultivation wasn't very high, he was a veteran and his acting skills were pretty good. After staring at Zi Qinghai for a while, Yu Qilong didn't notice anything strange and was about to leave. He planned to go to Half Demon City to investigate again. However, at this moment, a damned voice rang out. "Father, what are you talking about? That person clearly looks the same as the one in the portrait." The one who spoke turned out to be Zi Qinghai's son. At that moment, Zi Qinghai's face became very ugly, although he soon returned to normal. However, he knew that he was probably done for. "Oh, you said that person looks exactly the same as the one in the portrait?" Yu Qilong asked. "Yes, although I didn't see what weapon he used, they look 80% similar. That person is very arrogant." Zi Qinghai's son didn't notice his father's ugly face at all. He was still talking to himself. It must be him. A hint of excitement appeared on Yu Qilong's face. Chapter 3813. Ninth Uncle, continue your investigation in Half-Demon City. Remember everyone who is related to that Ling Xiao. Once I'm done with that guy, I'll kill all of them. I want that brat to suffer, even in hell. Yu Qilong suddenly said in a vicious manner. Don't worry. Yu Qilong's ninth uncle, Yu Xing, wasn't strong. He was only a peak fourth divine core warrior. Because he was sick, he didn't go to the burial site last time. That was why he was able to escape death. Let's split up then. I'll go to the bloodthirsty forest. You go to Half-Demon City. Yu Qilong couldn't wait to see Ling Xiao and grind his bones to dust. Yu Xing nodded his head and entered Half-Demon City. However, Yu Qilong didn't leave immediately. He gazed at Zi Qinghai with an indifferent expression and said, How dare you lie to me? Looks like all of you are tired of living. Senior, I've already told you everything I know. Zi Qinghai's son became anxious. Ha 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 ha. Yes, you've told me everything, but your contributions can't make up for your mistakes. Who asked you to be saved by that Ling Xiao? I'm going to kill all those who were saved by him. Yu Qilong let out a wild laugh. After that, he unleashed his terrifying aura. Run! Zi Qinghai roared out. He suddenly took out a talisman and threw it at Yu Qilong. Body securing talisman. The men from the Iron Blood Hunter group hadn't realized what had happened. The body securing talisman had lost its effect. Yu Qilong was too strong. The body securing talisman could only cause a fifth divine core warrior to be paralyzed. Die! Yu Qilong unleashed countless terrifying sword energies from his body. All men from the Iron Blood Hunter group were killed. Zi Qinghai's son had no idea why this happened. After killing all the men from the Iron Blood Hunter group, Yu Qilong disappeared from the entrance of Half-Demon City. He was running towards the bloodthirsty forest. Ling Xiao, oh Ling Xiao, do you really think I can't do anything to you just because you're hiding in the bloodthirsty forest? Damn brat, if I don't kill you, I swear I'm not a human. Yu Qilong's hatred for Ling Xiao was bone deep, deep down in his soul. His father, the head of the Yu family, Yu Hua, died because of Ling Xiao, and all his plans were ruined because of Ling Xiao. How could he ever forget this grudge? A fifth-level divine core warrior. Even in Half-Demon City, he was the strongest existence. But right now, he had to kill Ling. He had never thought that Ling Xiao would be able to escape from him. Back when he was at the Bone Burial Ground, it was because of the special environment that he had suffered at every turn. But now that special environment no longer existed. He did not believe that he would be taken advantage of by Ling Xiao. The flames of anger burned in his body. Yu Qilong's angry to the bloodthirsty forest. It seemed that ever since Ling Xiao joined the Z Mansion army, Ling Xiao had always been his enemy. He had killed his lover, Nie Shuang, and ruined his plan to tame Zi Qinya. If it wasn't for Ling Xiao, he would be the one who obtained the inheritance of the Blood Sword Supreme. Zi Qinya would also be his. His father wouldn't have died. Nie Shuang wouldn't have died. All the mighty warriors from the Yu family wouldn't have died. Everything was Ling Xiao's fault. Don't worry, I won't kill you so easily. I'll make you watch Zi Qinya and Zi Long being tortured to death. Ha 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 ha, just you wait, Ling Xiao. I'm coming. Laughing wildly, Yu Qilong dashed into the bloodthirsty forest. Right at this moment, at the entrance of Half-Demon City, a core flew out from Zi Qinghai's body. Then it shot into the bloodthirsty forest like a shooting star. Deeper into the bloodthirsty forest. The grass and trees had become more luxuriant. The sunlight had become dimmer. Ling Xiao calculated for a moment. He was still halfway to the deepest part of the bloodthirsty forest. But even so, the bloodthirsty Demon King's frightening aura was enough to make anyone tremble. What a powerful aura, but it's perfect. Ling Xiao didn't back down because of this. He had always loved challenges, and this was a great opportunity for him. Whether or not he could break through to the 4th level of the divine core realm would depend on this bloodthirsty demon king. Although it was dangerous, it was also filled with hope. The air was filled with killing intent. Even a 6th level divine core warrior wouldn't dare to enter this place recklessly. But Ling Xiao was a little special. After going through the test of killing intent in the burial grounds, this kind of killing intent was nothing to him. Almost there, Ling Xiao noticed that the 4th rank divine core bloodthirsty demon had once again appeared in front of him. This made him feel excited, but he was too close to the bloodthirsty demon king, and he could run into it at any time. Therefore, he had to be extra careful while killing. If he could avoid exposing himself, he would try his best. Within this area, there were no ordinary demon beasts. They were all bloodthirsty demons that had mutated after being affected by the bloodthirsty demon king's demonic aura. Therefore, Jiang Chun was able to kill faster. In just over an hour, Jiang Qin had collected all 3,000 bloodthirsty demon crystal cores. With this, Jiang Qin had completed half of his mission of cultivating the blood devil seal. What he needed to do next was to find a 6th level divine core demon beast's crystal core, or a 6th level divine core demon beast's inner core. In fact, the inner core's effect was better. After all, the blood devil seal itself was a technique that was filled with evil qi. Bang! Suddenly, a loud explosion sounded out from afar. Ling Xiao was startled. He quickly activated his Tai Chi eye and looked into the distance. Because it was too far away, he couldn't see clearly. He could only see 2 frightening energies fighting in the depths of the bloodthirsty forest. One of them is filled with demonic aura. It should be the bloodthirsty demon king. The other one is filled with demonic aura as well. I think it's a demon warrior. A demon warrior was a man who had given his soul to a heavenly devil, earth devil, insect devil, or any other demon. They were also known as human devils. These warriors were known for their murderous nature, and they were even crazier than the Blood Sword Supreme. At least, the Blood Sword Supreme still retained a little bit of his human nature. But once a demon warrior completely turned into a demon, he would lose his human nature and become a puppet of a demon. But one had to admit that a human devil's strength was extremely frightening. If one could suppress a demon with his willpower, it would be a great boost to his overall strength. Ling Xiao had once experienced being a human devil, but that was all in the past. At that time, he had suppressed the demon's invasion of his soul. Relying on the demon's strength, he had defeated many enemies. Why don't I go and have a look? Ling Xiao suddenly had the idea of taking advantage of the situation. When 2 tigers fought, one of them would definitely be injured. Since the demon warrior was able to fight the bloodthirsty demon king, he must be extremely strong as well. He should be at least a 6th level divine core warrior. The inner core was perfect for him to cultivate the blood devil seal. Although this was a crazy and dangerous idea, Ling Xiao felt like he had to give it a try. After all, he had many ways to save his own life. While he was hesitating if he should enter the forest, he suddenly saw a black beam flying towards him from afar. Ling Xiao stretched out his hand and caught it. It was an inner core. Young hero, avenge us! Chapter 38:14. You're that Zi Qinghai? Ling Xiao was very surprised. Zi Qinghai was saved by him, but now there was only one inner core left. Something big must have happened. That's right. There are 2 experts from the Purple Kingdom who are looking for you. You even killed a member of my Iron Blood Hunter group. Zi Qinghai replied. People from the Purple Kingdom? Are they from the Yu family? Ling Xiao immediately thought of Yu Qilong. The guy had suffered a lot at his hands. He would definitely not let it go. This is my memory. Zi Qinghai wanted to let Ling Xiao confirm what had happened at that time. He released his memory to Ling Xiao. It's really Yu Qilong. Damn it, I'm still no match for him with my current strength. Originally, Ling Xiao was still hesitating whether to go deep into the bloodthirsty forest. But at this moment he made a decision. Even if it was risky, he had to break through as soon as possible. Otherwise, he could only run away if he encountered Yu Qilong. Don't worry, this guy is also my enemy. Even if it's not for you, I'll kill him. You're a good person. I'll think of a way to find another body for you. You can rest in my storage ring first. After Ling Xiao finished speaking, he put Zi Qinghai's inner core into the Dongsheng Emperor Ring. The Dongsheng Emperor Ring had a special space to store living things. The effect was better than the previous beast rings. After putting Zi Qinghai away, Ling Xiao headed deep into the bloodthirsty forest. Along the way, he maintained the shadow warrior form. He did not engage in any more battles to avoid being detected by any monsters. When he arrived at the battlefield, he found that it was already a mess. The bloodthirsty Demon King was seriously injured, and his opponent, the powerful human demon, was already dead. It was obvious that the bloodthirsty Demon King had won this battle. After all, he had the home advantage. I'll eat you. Then I can become even stronger. The bloodthirsty Demon King's appearance was not ugly. She actually looked like a teenage girl. However, her original form was probably a little ugly. Good chance. Ling Xiao originally thought that he would have to stay here for a while to wait for the battle to end. However, he didn't expect that the battle would be over as soon as he arrived. With the bloodthirsty Demon King's current condition, it was impossible for him to kill him. Even catching up to him was impossible. Therefore, Ling Xiao appeared, grabbed the inner core that had fallen to the ground, turned around, and fled. That human devil's soul was extremely weak. His body was already in tatters. Only the Naiden was still intact. This was the best situation for Ling Xiao. After taking the inner core, Ling Xiao disappeared in the blink of an eye. The bloodthirsty demon monarch was stunned. He had never imagined that someone would dare to take advantage of him. Ah! A sharp and unbearable cry rang out in the bloodthirsty forest. However, Ling Xiao had already used the earth elemental golden light technique to move 10 miles away. That was so scary. Just the sound alone almost jolted me out of the earthen golden light technique. If that guy wasn't injured, it would be too scary. Thinking of this, Ling Xiao made a decision. He planned to find a safe place to start cultivating. He wouldn't come out for a while. The bloodthirsty demon monarch would definitely send his subordinates to search for him after he snatched his prey. Coming out now was simply asking for a beating. The Shengtian sect was naturally the best choice. With Zi Qinghai's reminder, he wouldn't fight Yu Qilong head-on now. Anyway, he had all the materials to cultivate the blood demon seal. In the process of cultivating the blood demon seal, he would definitely have a breakthrough in his cultivation. Thinking of this, he quickly chose a path that avoided Yu Qilong and went to Half-Demon City. The Shengtian sect was protected by the Donghuang Demon Vanquishing Formation. Everyone in the sect was in seclusion at the moment. Therefore, it was very quiet. Ling Xiao didn't disturb the others. Instead, he chose a spacious place in the back mountain of the Shengtian sect and released the martial soul barrier. He had already read the cultivation method of the blood demon seal more than once. He couldn't be more familiar with it. Now that he had the materials, what he needed to do next was to cultivate. It was a martial skill that required 3,000 demon cores from bloodthirsty demon monarchs and a 6th divine core human devil's inner core. Without even thinking about it, he knew how terrifying it was. The blood demon seal was a set of formations. The 3,000 demon cores were the key to cultivating the formation. The same went for the human devil's inner core. It was the core of the blood demon seal. The blood sword reverend didn't know how to cultivate formations. Therefore, the blood demon seal he cultivated wasn't a 6th order emperor realm martial skill. At most, it was a 5th order emperor realm martial skill. Once the formation was activated, the power of the blood demon seal would reach the level of a 6th order emperor realm martial skill. Under normal circumstances, it would be a fifth-order Emperor realm martial skill. But before he started cultivating, he needed to deal with the human devil's inner core. This human devil was really ferocious. Its soul had been weakened to the extreme. It even tried to seize Ling Xiao's body. It was instantly submerged by Ling Xiao's soul realm and destroyed. After that, Ling Xiao sat down and took out a formation refining stone. He started to arrange the formation according to the blood demon seal. In order to maximize the effectiveness of the formation, Ling Xiao even invited a Yuan Venerate, and the two of them worked together to modify the formation. This made the power of the blood demon seal 10 times stronger than before. Although it still couldn't reach the level of a 7th-order Emperor realm martial skill, it was much stronger than other 6th-order Emperor realm martial skills. The blood demon seal was a very special martial skill. It could be used barehanded or with all kinds of weapons. The effect was completely different. When it was used barehanded, it looked like a palm technique. But if it was used with a sword, the blood demon seal would turn into a huge sword seal, and its power would increase tremendously. If it was used with a formation, 3,000 sword seals bloomed at the same time. 3,000 bloodthirsty demon monarchs roared ferociously. Even if it didn't hurt anyone, it could scare them to death. The sword seal in the middle was the biggest. It was a towering heavenly devil. Its pitch-black body was more than 10 meters tall, and black smoke was billowing from its body. It was terrifying. Interesting. This blood devil seal is much more powerful than I imagined it would be. It's a pity that the blood sword venerate didn't understand the true essence of the blood demon seal after such a long time. What he used was merely a bare-handed palm print. Ling Xiao used to look down on the blood devil seal, but at this moment he suddenly realized how terrifying it was. The power of the 9 sovereigns' sword art had already reached its limit. It was good enough that it could release the power of a 5th-order Emperor realm martial skill. The power of the blood shadow sword art could reach the 4th-order Emperor realm at most, although it was still very powerful at this stage. If he encountered a stronger opponent, he could only use martial skills to suppress them. The blood demon seal was definitely the best supplement. The blood demon seal had a lot of demonic beast cores, and it had a lot of attacking methods. It could be said to be ever-changing, making it impossible for the enemy to guard against. Chapter 38:15. Of course, the scariest thing about the blood demon seal was that it could unleash 3,000 sword seals at the same time. The 3,000 sword seals led by the heavenly demons were actually 3,001 terrifying blood demon seals. It was as if 3,000 giant beasts were running at the same time. If it was placed in the bloodthirsty forest, even the bloodthirsty demon king, who was at the 6th rank divine core realm, would be afraid of it. Maybe I can make it even stronger. Ling Xiao was never one to be complacent, since this formation could be formed with swords. That meant that the divine demon sword soul could also be merged with it, allowing these blood demon seals to possess souls. With this thought in mind, he began to comprehend and modify it. After a full day and night, an earth-shattering explosion could be heard from the martial soul boundary. A mountain peak was directly blasted apart. You did it. Kid, you're really amazing. Even the person who invented this blood demon seal couldn't have imagined that it would become so powerful. I'm afraid its power is equivalent to a 7th-order Emperor realm martial skill. The Yuan Venerate knew that Ling Xiao was outstanding, but the things that this kid did still surprised him to no end. Let's call it the Divine Demon Seal from now on. This is the upgraded version of the Blood Demon Seal. Ling Xiao was excited about his research. The Blood Demon Seal, merged with the Divine Demon Sword Soul, was a Divine Demon Seal. And it wasn't just because of the sword soul. The main reason was that its power had increased. Withdraw. Ling Xiao muttered an incantation, and the fiend god seal began to shrink, forming a blood-red halo behind him. This halo could be big or small. It moved with his body. The faster he moved, the faster the halo moved. When fighting with an enemy, it could be changed according to the actual situation. Blood Demon Seal, Slaughterhouse. Ling Xiao suddenly waved the blood sovereign sword in his hand and thrust it forward. In an instant, the blood-red halo expanded rapidly. Then, a terrifying murderous aura was released from the blood-red halo. The entire sword seal space had turned into a slaughterhouse filled with sword lights. Any enemy who entered the space would have to face the terrifying murderous aura, facing the continuous attacks of the terrifying sword lights. It felt a bit like the sword domain he used before, but it was much more powerful. Blood Demon Seal, Bat Cave. Ling Xiao's hand seals changed, and the scene changed accordingly. It was no longer the dancing sword lights from before. Instead, it had turned into a terrifying, pitch-black bat cave. Moreover, the ear-piercing sound waves continued to ring out. If an enemy was trapped in it, they would probably go crazy. Blood Devil Seal, Bloodthirsty Forest. This could be considered the Blood Devil Seal's strongest move. Once it was used, all the bloodthirsty demons would be released. Together with the heavenly demons, they would become the enemy's nightmare. Ling Xiao, get the hell out here. Suddenly, a loud shout came from outside. Ling Xiao was all too familiar with this voice. It was none other than Yu Qilong. It seemed that after these few days of torment, Yu Qilong had finally found Ling Xiao's foothold. He knew that Ling Xiao was related to the Shangtian sect. His roar woke up everyone in the Shangtian sect who was in seclusion. Only a few who were in the midst of breaking through were still cultivating. This included Xingyu, Shang Xingzong, and Sheng Hao. The remaining people all came out. Someone actually dared to find trouble with the Grand Sect Master. This was really strange. By the time everyone was outside, they saw a single person standing in the void. The terrifying aura made Sheng Buell tremble all over. Although he had broken through to the late fourth divine core realm, he still felt a sense of fear. This showed how frightening this man was. Furthermore, the sect master of the bloodthirsty sect was standing behind this man. It seemed like the sect master of the bloodthirsty sect was very respectful to this man. The sect master of the bloodthirsty sect was the strongest existence in the entire half-demon city. Early 5th divine core warrior. Didn't that mean this man was even stronger than the sect master of the bloodthirsty sect? Don't go out. Ling Xiao had successfully cultivated the Blood Devil Seal, although he still hadn't broken through to the next realm. Even though he still hadn't broken through to the next realm, he still had the strength to fight. Therefore, he wouldn't hide anymore. With the help of Yu Qilong's strength, he could break through to the next realm. With this, no matter where he went, he would have more confidence. Ling Xiao turned into a sword beam and left the Eastern Emperor Devil slaying formation. How dare you come out? I've chased you from the Violet Spirit Kingdom to the Bloodthirsty Forest, and now I've chased you all the way here. But today, let me see where you can run to. Yu Qilong stared at Ling Xiao coldly and said, After I kill you, I'll destroy this bullshit magnificent sky sect as well. I won't let go of anyone who is related to you. They must all die. All of them must die. Hearing Yu Qilong's words, everyone from the magnificent sky sect had ugly expressions. They had never expected that they would provoke such a frightening warrior. Although Ling Xiao had defeated 7 great warriors by himself, but those 7 men were only 4th divine core warriors. This time, there were 2 5th-level divine core warriors who had come. Could they win? Facing such a mighty warrior, there's nothing we can do. The only thing we can do is pray. Once Grand Sect Master is defeated, I'm afraid we'll be consigned to eternal damnation. Therefore, no matter what, we have to protect the sect master, even if we have to sacrifice most of our men. As long as he's alive, The magnificent sky sect will always be alive, Shang Xingzong said with a loud voice. Understood. Over 1,000 warriors from the magnificent sky sect shouted out loudly. As for the hundreds of thousands of warriors who were controlled by the soul catcher, they had other thoughts. They hoped that Ling Xiao would be killed, so they wouldn't have to be controlled by the soul catcher anymore. After all, they had just joined the magnificent sky sect, and they weren't that loyal. But they were really stupid. If Ling Xiao was defeated, would he let them go? Once the soul catcher's soul attack was activated, these hundreds of thousands of warriors would be killed on the spot. What they should do was not to hope that Ling Xiao would die, but to hope that Ling Xiao would win this battle. You have a big appetite, but too bad. You're as stupid as your father, Yu Hua. Do you think I'm still the same old me? Fine, since you're here today, I'll let you die here. Ling Xiao stared at Yu Qilong coldly and said, Zi Qinghai and the others, you killed them because they were saved by me, right? That's right. Not only them. I've asked Uncle Ju to investigate this matter. I won't spare anyone who is related to you in this half-demon city. I want everyone in this world to know that those who offend the Yu family are the enemies of the entire world. Yu Qilong said with a loud voice. You're still as arrogant as before. Do you think you're invincible just because you're an early 5th divine core warrior? Let me tell you, no matter if it's the past or the current you, you'll always be at a disadvantage in front of me. Since I can kill so many people from the Yu family, I naturally have a way to make you suffer a fate worse than death. Ling Xiao looked at Yu Qilong with an indifferent expression and said, Let's cut the crap. If you want to kill me, just do it. I'm waiting. You want to die? Hand over the immemorial martial skill and the blood sovereign sword first. Yu Qilong hadn't completely lost his mind. He knew why he was looking for Ling Xiao. Aside from revenge, there was something more important. Chapter 38:16. In order to hunt down Ling Xiao, Yu Qilong had used all the resources of the Yu family. In the past month, he had encountered a lot of trouble, especially in the bloodthirsty forest. He had no idea what those demon beasts had encountered, but all of them had gone crazy. He had almost lost his life in the process, but he still managed to survive because he had a single belief in his heart. That was to kill Ling Xiao and take back what was rightfully his. He wasn't stupid enough to give the ancient martial skill and blood sovereign sword to an outsider. Even though he knew the warriors from the Dong Shun Great Kingdom were extremely powerful, he still didn't dare to do anything. He still planned to take them and run away after that. He felt that he was different from Ling Xiao. Ling Xiao's strength should still be at the 2nd stage Divine Core realm a month ago, but he was now an early 5th stage Divine Core warrior. With this kind of strength, he would be able to survive in any great kingdom. He didn't believe anyone would be able to find him. As for his family, they were basically destroyed by Ling Xiao. The only survivors were Yu Zhen, Yu Xing, and himself. The rest were all below the Divine Core realm. If he didn't kill Ling Xiao, how could he feel at ease? You seem quite calm. Don't tell me you don't know what happened in Purple Spirit City. I'm afraid your woman, Zi Qinya, and your brother Zilong have all become walking corpses. You have no idea how terrifying those warriors from the Dong Shun Great Kingdom are. The entire Purple Spirit capital has become a dead city. Yu Qilong wanted to see Ling Xiao's terrified expression. He didn't like Ling Xiao's calm expression. What did you just say? When Ling Xiao heard what Yu Qilong said, he became nervous. But he wasn't scared. If Zi Qinya and Zilong were in danger, he swore that he would uproot the Gu family. The ancient emperor of Dong, Sheng, didn't expect him to take revenge. He didn't plan to deal with the Gu family, but once the Gu family attacked his friends, he and the Gu family would have to fight to the death. Now you know what fear is. The Dong Shun Great Kingdom sent the heaven-slaying blade devil, Gu Fenghua, and the death witch, Qin Ma Xue. These two people were masters who killed without batting an eyelid. With them here, even if our Yu clan doesn't do anything, Ziqinya won't be able to survive. Yu Qilong sneered, but you don't have to worry about them, because today you will die too. When the time comes, all you need to do is meet in the netherworld. Seeing the expression on Ling Zhao's face, Yu Qilong felt a kind of perverted pleasure in his heart. He wanted to see Ling Zhao get angry, but this was far from enough. The enmity of killing his father was absolutely irreconcilable. The hatred of having his wife stolen from him was heart-wrenching. The pain that Ling Zhao had brought him was much greater than this. When he thought of this, he suddenly felt like he was about to explode. A terrifying murderous aura instantly burst out and spread outside the Donghuang demon, vanquishing Grand Array. He stared at Ling Zhao. Without the suppression of the terrifying killing intent from the bone-burying ground, his strength was indeed much stronger than Ling Zhao's. This is a true fifth divine core warrior, a true golden core warrior. Because of the special environment, I didn't feel it before. Although Ling Zhao was worried about Ziqinya and Zilong, the most important thing right now was to deal with Yu Qilong. Yu Qilong was really strong. Even if 100 peak fourth divine core warriors fought him together, they still wouldn't be his match. Perhaps this would be the toughest battle Ling Zhao had to face since he arrived in Half-Demon City. But he couldn't run away. Behind him was the Shengtian sect. The Donghuang demon vanquishing Grand Array could be maintained for a period of time, but it would be exhausted one day. Once he died, the Shengtian sect would be finished. His disciple, Shengyu, would also die a horrible death. Therefore, even if he could run away, he couldn't. Yu Qilong's body was surrounded by dense sword energies. It was as if he had turned into a sharp sword. Sword energies covered the entire sky. Both of them used swords, and both of them had sword martial souls. Ling Zhao really wanted to see what kind of person he was. He wanted to know how terrifying an early golden core sword artist could be. Now that I think about it, it has only been half a year since I arrived in the 4 major regions. When I joined the Z Mansion army, you didn't even bother to look at me. Even the weakest centurion in the Z Mansion army could easily kill me. As for you, you are an existence that I can only look up to. But now, the gap between us isn't as big as it used to be. Now that I think about it, it really makes me sigh. Ling Zhao transformed into the peerless heavenly rat beast soul. Powerful beast souls appeared one after another behind his back. Facing Yu Qilong, he was ready to unleash all of his strength. If he couldn't, he would unleash the Tyrant martial soul as well. After all, staying alive was more important. As long as he could defeat Yu Qilong, he would be fine. After all, the Tyrant martial soul had been modified by him, and the difference between it and the Mountain River martial soul was huge. It was hard for others to recognize it. While unleashing his aura to suppress Ling Zhao, Yu Qilong sneered and said, "Don't brag about yourself. I know your talent is outstanding, and I know you're a true monster. The speed at which your cultivation increases is simply frightening. In fact, when you killed Nieshuang, I already sensed it. Luckily, I found you now. If it was a year later or half a year later, I'm afraid I wouldn't be your opponent." Although Yu Qilong hated Ling Zhao, but he had to admit that Ling Zhao's talent was really monstrous, more monstrous than any other genius he had ever seen. But fortunately, Ling Zhao was just a monstrous talent, and his strength was still not enough. This time, Yu Qilong had inherited the supreme martial arts of the Yu clan. After Yu Hua died, he became the patriarch of the Yu clan. He had created his sword soul to perfection, reaching the innate sword soul level, although it was only at the innate level. But he believed that in the entire Dong Shengstrong country, there were very few people who could raise their sword soul to the innate level. He would definitely be able to kill Ling Zhao, facing the powerful Yu Qilong. Ling Zhao didn't have any hope of winning. He had successfully cultivated the Blood Devil Seal. His cultivation was about to break through the Dong Sheng demonic sword, the Blood God of Thunder, and the Tyrant martial soul. These were all his trump cards. Not to mention, he still had 2 terrifying Ultimate Dan Realm Martial Artist Divine Pills in his body. If worst came to worst, he could release the Divine Pills and detonate them. He didn't believe that he couldn't kill Yu Qilong. Oh right, there was also a supreme treasure, the Dongsheng Emperor Ring. He could use the Dongxing Emperor Ring once today to summon the heroic spirit soldiers in the ring. Even if he only summoned one, it would be enough to crush Yu Qilong. Of course, that was also a move that he couldn't use unless he had no other choice. Dragon Trapping Talisman. Yu Qilong suddenly used the Dragon Trapping Talisman. The golden dragon circled around, forming a sealed space. It wrapped him and Ling Xiao inside. This Dragon Trapping Talisman is equivalent to a mortal Heavenly King artifact. It's impossible for you to break it. Unless you kill me. I know you have a special escape ability, but don't think about using it today. Chapter 38:17. A cruel grin emerged on Yu Qilong's face as he said, "Those people from the magnificent sky sect must have taken you as their guardian, right? Today, I'm going to torture you in front of them. Let's see how miserable you are." "Hee hee. You're such a filthy person," Ling Xiao said with a faint smile on his face. "I didn't expect you to be so calm. Fine, I'll let you feel fear." Yu Qilong finally stopped talking. His aura had reached its peak. He was also using a sword, and it was also a mortal rank Heavenly King weapon. Perhaps he had inherited it from Yu Hua. He was now the Yu family's clan chief, and only he was qualified to own a weapon like this. "Come, I want to test the strength of a golden core warrior." Ling Xiao waved his hand at Yu Qilong. He was ready to fight with all his strength. His opponent was too strong, and he didn't want to make the first move, because it would be easy for his opponent to find an opening. Kill. Yu Qilong was smart. He didn't use his full strength right from the start. He only used an ordinary attack toward Ling Xiao. But even the most ordinary attack was the attack of a 5th Heavenly Core Warrior. Its power was extraordinary. Its speed was extremely fast as well, almost the same as Ling Xiao's full strength. But it wasn't as fast as the Earth Elemental Golden Light art. But the Earth Elemental Golden Light art was a skill used for escaping. It wasn't useful in a fight. 8 swords in one. Ling Xiao didn't dare underestimate Yu Qilong. He immediately used a 4th grade Emperor-ranked martial skill to fight back. Bang! Bang! Both men collided in midair. Ling Xiao was slammed into the Eastern Emperor demon slaying formation. As for Yu Qilong, he was only pushed back 2 steps. Yu Qilong had only used an ordinary attack, but Ling Xiao had used a 4th grade Emperor-ranked martial skill. And he had suffered such a huge loss. This was enough to show how frightening Yu Qilong was. "Interesting. I didn't expect you to have mastered a 4th grade Emperor-ranked martial skill. No wonder you're so calm. But do you think you can fight me with just this? What a joke." Yu Qilong's face to show disdain. He shook the long sword in his hand. This time he was going to use a martial skill. "Are you the only one who knows how to attack?" Through this collision, Ling Xiao roughly understood Yu Qilong's true strength. He was definitely no match for him. However, it was not impossible for him to win, even if the probability was only about 10%. He also wanted to fight. 9 swords as one. The power of a high-grade 4th order Emperor Realm martial skill wasn't something a low-grade martial skill could compare to. In that instant, the 9 swords released the aura of kings. The terrifying sword chi was sharp and domineering. He charged towards Yu Qilong. He actually chose to take the initiative to attack, which surprised Yu Qilong. What surprised him the most was that Ling Xiao actually knew a 4th rank Emperor class martial skill. This was really too shocking. A 2nd level Divine Core Warrior who knew a 4th level Emperor martial skill? No, he seemed to be a peak 3rd Divine Core Warrior. This guy actually broke through again. A trace of panic flashed across Yu Qilong's eyes. However, it only lasted for a moment before disappearing. So what if Ling Xiao had broken through? He was still no match for him. So what if Ling Xiao knew a high-grade 4th Order Emperor Realm Martial skill? He was still fearless. 9 terrifying sword chi enveloped Yu Qilong, and all the domineering sword chi hit Yu Qilong's body. However, Ling Xiao furrowed his brows. Through the Tai Chi eye, he could clearly sense that the 9 swords as one didn't cause much damage to Yu Qilong. This was because Yu Qilong had used a martial skill as well. It was only a low-grade 4th Order Emperor Realm martial skill, but it had easily neutralized his attack. Interesting. It's a pity that this is probably your strongest attack, isn't it? Yu Qilong walked out from the sword chi. He was like an unsheathed divine sword, and any attack that landed on his body would be easily neutralized. This was the frightening strength of a golden core warrior. The sovereign blood sword is wasted in your hands. If it was in my hands, I would be able to unleash a much stronger combat strength. Yu Qilong stared at the sword in Ling Xiao's hand, and a greedy look emerged in his eyes. Ignorant. Ling Xiao looked at Yu Qilong in disdain. No one knew this sword better than him. Its complete form was the East Victory Sky Sword. However, the grade of the East Victory Sky sword was too high. With Ling Xiao's current strength, he couldn't control it. Therefore, he didn't let the sovereign blood sword merge with his sword soul. Even so, the sovereign blood sword was a spiritual heavenly king artifact. It had the terrifying killing intent of the blood sword supreme. How could Yu Qilong control it? Ling Xiao's attack did not stop even after he finished speaking. The sovereign blood sword finally pointed at Yu Qilong. Don't you want to know its power? I'll let you try. Suddenly, Ling Xiao turned into a blood shadow. Blood shadow sword art, blood shadow kill. The blood shadow kill executed by the sovereign blood sword was much stronger than the blood shadow kill executed by the blood sun world. A low-grade 4th Order Emperor Realm martial skill could unleash the power of a mid-grade 4th Order Emperor Realm martial skill. Moreover, the blood shadow kill's attack was very special. It was just an afterimage. It was impossible to guard against. You really don't know what's good for you. How dare you come near me? Yu Qilong sneered. His body turned into a huge lightsaber, and he pierced towards Ling Xiao with a terrifying speed. He had become one with the sword. Before the martial technique was executed, just the terrifying sword chi that he spat out had already blown away Ling Xiao's sword shadows. But Ling Xiao's attack wasn't over yet. Blood shadow sword art, blood shadow kill. The blood shadow sword art was a continuous attack. If the first attack failed, the next attack would be quickly unleashed. Each attack was stronger than the previous one, and each attack was more bizarre than the previous one. But it was still useless. The blood shadow kill still couldn't break through Yu Qilong's defense. With an attack like this, you can only fight with a 4th level divine core warrior. To me, it's just like scratching an itch. Yu Qilong looked at Ling Xiao with disdain. After the fight, he had become more confident. He felt that Ling Xiao was nothing in front of him. Not necessarily. 10 swords in one. Blood shadow clone slash. In an instant, Ling Xiao had unleashed 2 different martial skills at the same time. 10 swords in one was as powerful as a 5th level Emperor Realm martial skill. The blood shadow clone slash, with the help of the blood sovereign sword's terrifying killing intent, could unleash the same power. Yu Qilong's face turned pale with fright. This shock was absolutely no small matter, because Yu Qilong's strongest martial skill was only a 4th level Emperor Realm martial skill. And yet, Ling Xiao was able to unleash a 5th level Emperor Realm martial skill. It could be described as heaven-defying. Bang! 10 swords in one was finally able to push Yu Qilong back, blocking the terrifying man sword art. After that, the Blood Shadow Clone Slash was unleashed. It left behind 3 deep wounds on Yu Qilong's body. But too bad, Yu Qilong was too strong. Ling Xiao's cultivation was too weak. Both of them were on completely different levels. Therefore, he failed to kill Yu Qilong with this rare opportunity. Instead, it ignited Yu Qilong's anger. "Bastard, I'm going to kill you." Yu Qilong was enraged. Without hesitation, he unleashed his strongest martial skill and charged toward Ling Xiao. He wanted to turn Ling Xiao into ashes. Chapter 38:18. Yu Qilong's attack speed was too fast. Unless Ling Xiao used the Earth Golden Light technique to escape, he would not be able to dodge it. Ling Xiao had no choice but to face it head-on. That head-on collision just now had already let Ling Xiao taste the sweetness of victory. The energy in his cultivation had increased by 10%. It was evident that there were great benefits to fighting with a powerhouse. "It's time to end this!" Yu Qilong roared. The sharp sword in his hand turned into a sharp and huge sword light that attacked Ling Xiao. The sword stabbed out and the entire space was distorted. The sword light formed a strange sword chi that looked like a vortex. It instantly blocked all of Ling Xiao's escape routes. Coupled with the dragon trapping talisman's restraint, it was impossible for Ling Xiao to use the Earth Golden Light technique. This terrifying vortex was only the prelude. It was a means to seal Ling Xiao. The truly terrifying attack came from the inconspicuous sword chi in the vortex. Although it was inconspicuous, it could kill. "You're really strong. Is this why a Golden Core Realm powerhouse is so terrifying?" Facing Yu Qilong's attack, Ling Xiao took a deep breath. This should be Yu Qilong's advanced 4th level Emperor class martial skill. Given the huge gap between their cultivation bases, he could only make up for it with his martial skill. Demonic Blood Seal. Of course, this was just an ordinary demonic blood seal without the use of a formation. As the Blood Sovereign's sword stabbed out, a blood-red sword seal pierced through the air. The terrifying power of the advanced 5th level Emperor class martial skill made Yu Qilong feel an unprecedented sense of danger. Boom! The huge demonic blood sword seal hit the sword chi in the center of the vortex. It exploded in the void. Yu Qilong was sent flying and vomited blood. Ling Xiao was also sent flying by the terrifying impact. He crashed heavily into the Eastern Emperor Demon Vanquishing Formation and was covered in blood. Both of them were injured. "Brother Yu, are you okay? Do you need my help?" The bloodthirsty sect master looked at Yu Qilong and asked. "No need. This attack should be the brat's strongest attack." Who would have thought that he would actually succeed in cultivating the Blood Devil Seal? What a surprise! But it ends here. Yu Qilong wiped the blood from his mouth with great force, looking very excited. The Blood Devil Seal is actually so powerful. If I can obtain it, my strength will definitely increase by 100 times. Although he was injured, he did not feel fear. Instead, he felt an even stronger sense of greed. "Brat, so you dared to come out and fight me because of this, right? But unfortunately, you miscalculated. With such a huge gap in cultivation, even if you can use the Blood Devil Seal, it's impossible for you to kill me. And with your cultivation, forcefully using a 5th level Emperor class martial skill, I'm afraid you won't be able to use it a second time. Next, it will be your death." Yu Qilong's words were meant to scare Ling Xiao and comfort himself at the same time. However, Ling Xiao's expression did not change at all. It was as if he was indifferent to Qilong's words. This made Yu Qilong even more furious. This brat was too good at pretending. Actually, how was Ling Xiao pretending? Just this collision, just now, the energy in his cultivation actually skyrocketed by 20%. Now, it was already 80% energy. It was not far from breaking through. He was just checking the situation in his body. He did not have time to pretend. He casually took out a few medicinal pills and swallowed them, healing his body's injuries. As for the consumption of true essence, he did not care at all. With a heart of gold, the depleted true essence would be instantly replenished using potential. And his potential was full now, absolutely enough to use. If others forcefully used a 5th-level Emperor-class martial skill, they would probably really be like what Yu Qilong said. They could only use it once, and their true essence would basically be exhausted, losing combat power. Even with medicinal pills, it would not be so fast. But Ling Xiao was different. Ling Xiao absolutely did not need to worry about the use of true essence, unless even his potential was exhausted. But the problem was that he still had 2 divine pills in his body as backup potential. Those were the divine pills of the ancient Dongxing Emperor and his Empress. Those 2 were both powerhouses in the extreme realm of alchemy. To the current Ling Xiao, the energy of those 2 divine pills was practically endless. Calm down now, you'll panic later. Let me use this sword to completely finish you off. Yu Qilong used the same sword skill again, but the power was clearly more than 10 times stronger than before. After all, Yu Qilong was also considered a genius. Therefore, he also had some secret methods to increase combat power or enhance the power of martial skills. Like last time, Ling Xiao had no door to heaven and no road to hell. The only thing he could do was to fight to the end. Xingtian sect's people were worried about Ling Xiao. All of them were so nervous that their breathing was somewhat hurried. And those who hoped that Ling Xiao would be unlucky were somewhat excited. They hoped to see fear and despair on Ling Xiao's face, but there was none. Ling Xiao's expression was as calm as ever. But when Yu Qilong's attack was about to reach him, a mysterious smile suddenly appeared on his face. He raised the Blood Supreme sword in his hand again. Let me show you something fun. Divine Demon Seal. The Blood Supreme sword released a blood-red halo. The halo instantly became extremely huge and filled the entire dragon-trapping formation. It trapped Ling Xiao and Yu Qilong inside. 3,000 sword seals were connected, and each sword seal released a terrifying demonic aura. The most terrifying thing was the sword seal in the center. Not only was it huge, but it also released billowing demonic aura. What is this? Yu Qilong was completely stunned. He was already extremely shocked that Ling Xiao could cultivate the Blood Demon Seal. He could cultivate it at such a fast speed and even use it. It was simply like a dream. But now, Ling Xiao had actually used something even more terrifying than the demonic blood seal. By the way, let me tell you, this divine demon seal is actually the complete form of the blood demon seal. Even the Blood Supreme sword hasn't completely cultivated an advanced rank 6 Emperor class martial technique. Do you think you can fight against it? In fact, Ling Xiao still held back and didn't integrate the divine demon sword soul. Otherwise, the divine demon seal could unleash the power of a beginner rank 7 Emperor class martial technique. But then the burden on his body would be too great, and it wasn't necessary. An advanced rank 6 Emperor class martial technique was enough to suppress the opponent. Kill! A cold voice came out of Ling Xiao's mouth. He waved the Blood Supreme sword in his hand, and the 3,000 sword seals flew out at the same time and integrated into the sword light of the Blood Supreme sword. They condensed into a bright light sword. It was extremely huge and enveloped the entire space of the formation. It made it impossible for Yu Qilong to dodge. Yu Qilong's attack was actually shattered by the huge light sword in an instant. Even Yu Qilong himself had to resist with all his strength. He burst out all the potential he had since he was born. Only then did he manage to block the terrifying light sword. Dense sword chi formed around his body to protect him. Chapter 3819. This seal of gods and devils is really frightening. Could it really be like what that young man said? This is the complete form of the Blood Devil Seal? Speaking of which, I've never seen the real Blood Devil Seal before, but the one unleashed by the Blood Sword Lord isn't as powerful as this. Besides, this young man is only at the peak 3rd Divine Core realm. How can he use a 6th Order Emperor Martial skill? This doesn't make sense. Does he have an endless supply of True Yuan? Normally, when using a martial skill, there were strict requirements for the cultivator's body, soul, and True Yuan. For a peak 3rd Divine Core Warrior, being able to use a 4th Order Emperor Martial skill was already considered heaven-defying. But when using a 6th Order Emperor Martial skill, the cultivator's body, soul, and True Yuan couldn't withstand it. It could only weaken the power of the martial skill, or it couldn't be used at all. But Ling Xiao's situation was completely out of this world. The strength of his body was no weaker than a 6th Order Divine Core Warrior. The strength of his soul was even stronger than a 6th Order Divine Core Warrior. Because of the Heart of Gold, his True Yuan might be stronger than a 9th Order Divine Core Warrior. That was why he didn't feel any restrictions when using a 6th Order Emperor Martial skill. But if he used a 7th Order Emperor Martial skill with his current cultivation, he would be in trouble. Of course, Yu Qilong didn't know about this. He could only sense how frightening and powerful the seal of gods and devils was. What kind of terrifying potential was hidden in this young man's body? Young man, you don't deserve to have such a powerful martial skill. It's mine. Yu Qilong roared out. Are you an idiot? This is a martial skill I comprehended by myself, and you still have the face to say it's yours? That's why I say the Yu family are all shameless. Weren't you acting tough just now? Come, I want to see what other trump cards you haven't used yet. Bloodthirsty Leech. Suddenly, Ling Xiao waved the Blood Sovereign sword in his hand. A beam of red light suddenly shot out from the void. It was the bloodthirsty Leech Demon. The figure turned into a sword energy that could suck the blood and True Yuan. The sword energy was extremely fast. Although Yu Qilong dodged it, his skin was still cut. At first, he thought he was fine, but suddenly he realized that something had entered his body from the wound. That sword qi formed by blood-sucking leeches. Once it enters your body, it will suck your blood until you die. Ling Xiao sneered. Damn it! Kill him! Yu Qilong was not completely helpless. His entire body trembled. Sword qi actually emerged from his body and destroyed the bloodthirsty leech. Even so, he had suffered internal injuries, and this was just the beginning. Beautifully done. Unfortunately, this Fiend God seal has 3001 transformations. Every one of them could put you in a difficult position. How many times can you block it? The corners of Ling Xiao's mouth curled into a smile. The so-called control was nothing more than this. Within the range of the Fiend God seal, he was like a god. No matter how powerful the enemy was, they would still be defeated. He didn't even need to get close to Yu Qilong. As long as he controlled the Celestial Demon Seal with the Blood Supreme Sword, he could do whatever he wanted. He could unleash an attack that would make the enemy suffer. Looks like I have to fight with all my strength today. I never expected you to force me to this extent. But it's a waste for such a good martial skill to fall into your hands. Just give it to me. I can promise you that I won't kill you. His greed for the Blood Fiend God seal had overshadowed his desire for revenge. It was enough to show how attractive the Blood Fiend God seal was to Yu Qilong. You let me go? Hee hee. What else do you think you can do in this Fiend God seal? Ling Xiao sneered disdainfully. He hadn't even used his martial soul, but Yu Qilong was already suppressed by him. It was enough to show how terrifying the Blood Fiend God seal was. Not necessarily. I'll let you experience the Yu family's immortal sword body. This was Yu Qilong's last resort. It was also his last resort. Actually, the immortal sword body could only be unleashed when one reached the 6th Divine Core realm. But now he had no choice but to use it. If he didn't use it, he would die. Frightening sword energies were unleashed from his body. A sword-shaped rune appeared on Yu Qilong's forehead. At the same time, the sword soul behind him had merged with him. His entire body unleashed a sharper and frightening sword intent. This was the true fusion of man and sword. Compared to his previous attack, it was much more frightening. With the help of the immortal sword body, Yu Qilong's defense, attack, and speed had all increased by a few times. His aura had also reached its peak. Right now, even a mid-5th level divine core warrior might not be his match. Do you feel despair now? With the help of the immortal sword body, there is no hope for you to survive. Although I can only maintain this state for about 10 minutes, it's more than enough time to kill you. Your fiend god seal is too slow. You can't catch up with me. Yu Qilong looked at Ling Xiao with a proud expression. A pair of wings made entirely of sword energies had grown out from his back. His appearance was really cool. His strength had indeed increased by a lot. Can't catch up with you? Indeed. But do you really think I have no other way? This fiend god seal was personally created by me, a formation master. Do you think this is all it can do? A cold smile emerged on Ling Xiao's face. Yu Qilong furrowed his brows. He really hated this expression on Ling Xiao's face. It was as if he had a card up his sleeve, as if everything was under his control. This made him feel a lot of pressure. Stubborn. Yu Qilong coldly harumphed. Then he took the initiative to attack. Rain of swords! He furiously roared out. Then the wings made of sword energies started flapping. After that, countless sword energies rained down on Ling Xiao. This was an attack that could only be unleashed with the help of the immortal sword body. Each attack was extremely powerful. Every single attack was not inferior to his single attack. This was the reason why Yu Qilong was so confident. How sad! Little Long Long, do you still not understand? Why do you keep losing to me? It's because you're stupid. Slaughterhouse of Fiend God Seal. Facing the rain of swords, many of the Xingtian sect's martial artists could not bear to watch, because they did not want to see Ling Xiao being pierced full of holes by the rain of swords. However, Ling Xiao's expression was still indifferent. He gently waved the blood supreme sword in his hand. The entire Fiend God Seal began to move. At that moment, the space of the Fiend God Seal turned into a terrifying slaughterhouse. Yu Qilong's rain of swords was even more terrifying, and it enveloped the entire space. Then a shocking scene appeared. Yu Qilong's rain of swords came to an abrupt end, because they were all destroyed by the Fiend God Seal's sword seal. It was clean, and not a single bit was left. No, I don't believe this is true. At that moment, Yu Qilong let out a cry of disbelief. However, whether he believed it or not, the result was the same. The sword qi, which was as dense as a storm, madly stabbed towards Yu Qilong. You're tuning in to the Thunder Spear YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.